5.
This morning from the strangest dream. I was in the biggest army the world has ever seen. We were marching as one on the road to the Holy Grail.
Melbourne must bury its pre-season woes here and now, for the Hawks shape as one of the teams of 2002.
I'm still here. I'm still a fool for the Holy
Well, what a day in Melbourne for Easter Monday football. The fans filing in, a top of 27 expected, an unbelievable day. And Melbourne have had a terrible time of it in the pre-season. Their fans, of course, hoping that will change this afternoon. The Hawks looking to improve ever so slightly on last year. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the MCG. And welcome to Peter Dacos.
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. Terrific to be here. As you made mention, beautiful day for football. And if you couldn't get a kick out there, there's a real problem.
Well, what are your expectations? We see the Melbourne side coming out. It's going to be warm. Gee, they're going to have to be pumped.
Well, they're going to have to be pumped. 6 months of training has gone into this game. This is the start of it for them. Forget about what happened in the Wizard Cup. And if this team wants an example of how they've got to go about it, North Melbourne on the weekend.
Let's get down to their coach, Neil Danaher. Hey, guys.
Thanks, Anthony. Neil, a disappointing pre-season, but a wake-up call for today, the start of the season.
Yeah, well, the pre-season's forgotten now, and you can hear the roar. The season's here, so we're looking forward to the start.
The midfield, a real battle there, especially against the likes of Chick and Crawford and Harford.
Yeah, and White and Wren, it's going to have a real important say in the game, and with the heat it is and the run in the game.
Now, a bit of talk about where Neitz is going to play. You prefer to play him up forward?
Yeah, look, we've got to go into the season positive. We're going to back our midfielders to win the ball, and we need David up there contesting for us, so that's the way we're going today.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thanks, Christy. Yes, very interesting, isn't it? Wherever Neil Danaher decides to play David Neitz, he loves to play him forward. Let's have a look at some of the other key players that you've identified, Daxon, for the Hawks. Nathan Thompson.
Well, Nathan Thompson, he's probably not at the top of the pile, but look, just so important. Terrific overhead. If he can put 4 quarters together, good ground level player as well, Hutto. He could be a real thorn in Melbourne's side. The other player is Stephen Green. I just reckon the luxury young Stephen has is probably he'll be third in a rung of players that Melbourne will look to. Crawford and Harford will probably get the taggers, which may release young Stephen Green.
I think you could tell in the voice of Neil Danaher how hopeful he was that the defence can hold up and that their runners can really go. Let's start from their back line.
Well, that may be their problem. Barker and Bizzell, that will be a lineup. Bizzell has a huge job there, also can play as a forward. Across half forward, say for Hawthorn, you have Chick and Walsh. That is going to be all important. And I think I like this matchup because of Chick's physical side. Walsh is no slouch in that department also. And hopefully he can get his hands on the ball and set the Demons up really off half back. Daniel Chick, terrific pre-season. We know he lost the finger, Hutto, but the way he's gone about his football, sensational.
He's had enormous publicity, as we move through the lineup and have a look across the centres. Adem, he is the #1 last year in the AFL for kicks, but what about Travis Johnson?
Well, Travis Johnson's had a good preparation. He's lacked that in the last 2-3 seasons. He has to get his hands on the ball.
This perhaps is where the Hawks could be in some trouble with Hay not out there.
Well, a good line for the Demons. Bruce, Schwarz and Robertson, all players that can take a grab. I love Schwartz's physical side of his game across half forward. The other one is really Neitz. David Neitz was mentioned by Neil Danaher. He has to take marks. He has to kick goals if the Demons have any chance.
And on ball, we touched on Jeff White against Sean Wren. What a battle that'll be.
Well, that is all important, but the bonus for the Demons is Stephen Powell is back in the team. Very good player a couple of seasons ago, missed last year.
Well, the bench is going to be pretty important, isn't it, today with the heat?
Well, I think so, and don't be... look, I think what you'll see is a huge rotation from both teams.
Well, the defence of Hawthorn, we looked at some of it there, and this is where they got so much run last year.
Well, look, Jade Rawlings at the top of that pile, terrific player, terrific mark. He's had an interrupted pre-season, but back in the key post. The running of Smith and Graham, all important. Johnny Hay is missing. Luke McCabe as a tagger and negating type player in defence, also important, but a very good unit, Hutto.
So that's one of the many battles to watch for this afternoon. We can see John Barker there in the middle of screen. Hasn't had much of a pre-season.
Well, he, along with Rawlings, I made mention of Rawlings. He's been interrupted, but can kick a goal. Has been named probably out of the square. It's going to be interesting to see how he stands up to the heat.
Well, the game not far away, and as we go to the break, let's have a look at two of the stars of their respective sides. Shane Crawford, of course, a Brownlow medalist back in '99, and the year after it was Shane Woden. Both of them had their troubles. We'll see how they go this afternoon.
Team at Hawthorn, we're the mighty fighting horse. We love our club and we play to win. It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag. It's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love.
Yes, welcome back to the MCG. We're not far away from a start and time to introduce to you, along with Peter Dacos, Stephen Silvani. Good afternoon, Steve.
How are you, Hutto?
Very well, and what a day for football.
Fantastic. Obviously, the conditions are a bit warm for players, but for the spectators, fantastic, and we should be in for a great game.
Well, they're great for everyone else, as you said, but what about Melbourne and their pre-season? We know how bad it was.
Yeah, it's obviously there's a few concerns about, in the Melbourne camp about Melbourne's form. We actually have a graphic here on Melbourne's woeful wizard ways, and in the pre-season competition, we just see here their total disposals was 694 for the 3 games, ranked number 16. The average inside 50 was 37, also ranked at 16. Their conversion rate inside the 50 was 17%. But what about this? Their total score for the 3 games was 19 goals, 33, and that really is a concern.
And how do they address that? David Neitz, the captain, winning the toss. At least that's something positive to start the day for Melbourne, and they'll go right of screen.
Yeah, well, I think they've got to get the ball first use out of the midfield. Today is a new day. It's the start of the season, and we really should see a pumped-up Melbourne. And I know Neil Danaher is very keen to get the season underway, and he's got a midfield now that's capable of matching it with the Hawks.
Well, we've seen, sorry, Pete, we've seen plenty of upsets over the first round of matches so far. St Kilda getting up over Carlton, the Kangaroos you mentioned, so that must give them some hope.
Well, I suppose the unpredictability of the competition, it's been that way for the last couple of seasons. But look, if there's any better example I can use, it's that one of Dennis Pagan and the Kangaroos on the weekend. Just their intent, the way they went about it, and intent is about your first contest, and really that tells a tale of any team. And if the Demons are able to jump out early, set it up, certainly out of the ruck with Jeff White, they're a chance because they have to play a physical game.
Well, we heard Neil Danaher say that David Neitz, his captain, will play forward. Daniel Chick, let's see who gets the job on him. Maybe it'll be Peter Walsh.
Well, he's not lying. Neitz and Schwarz are going to the forward line, so they're going to have some potency up there and some marking power, which they really did lack in year 2001.
Well, the weather will certainly test these players out. David Neitz looks like he's going into an attacking role, so he'll be coming out of the square alongside him. Brad Green, promising young player.
So Graham with the job on Neitz. And there's Daniel Chick.
Peter Walsh actually is in the middle of the ground. Chick being picked up by Whelan. Matthew Whelan has the job there. Walsh has the job on Crawford in the middle and is into him straight away.
So the Demons kicking to the right of screen. Jeff White and Sean Wren are ready. And we're away on this Easter Monday from the MCG. And Jeff White getting the first positive touch. Dixon starting in the middle for the Hawks. And once again a bounce straight away to start this game.
A little bit of feeling there. Just so important for the players to go body on body early, not be frightened of the touch.
Rawlings has picked up Schwarz.
Wren and White just...
Stephen Green has run off screen away from the pack of players. So he's sitting about 20 metres towards Hawthorn's goal.
An enormous number of players around the ball. Travis Johnson dispossessed, Crawford, Wren, and it opens up straight away for the Hawks. Dixon, a little bit hurried in the kick. Good work from Woden, who's also playing in defence. Broadbridge, McCabe was involved. This is Lekas. He spotted someone out of the corner of the eye. He put it very high, but Harford had the time. Made a bit of a meal of it. Bizzell closing in. Well played, though, by Harford in the end. Tallis just measured the kick in. Didn't quite make it as he would have liked. Harford wades his way through. Got ball to boot in pretty impressive fashion. Bruce has got a role in defence by the look of things, conceding the behind.
Well done by Bruce there. He just had to get a touch on the ball and he did that. But interesting just to see Daniel Hartford, who took the tackler on. They're renowned for doing that, Hawthorn. They will take the tackler on, and he had a shot at goal, but spoiled on the line.
So Woden to bring it in for the Demons. Interesting. Had that role last season. Came out of a back pocket plenty of times last year. Goes to half-back out of side. The Hawks, Barlow, second bite, not paid in the end. Hands off. Wheatley, he's wrapped up by a couple of Hawks. And one was Shane Crawford, the skipper, as they say, leading by example. And we have a ball up, half forward, Hawthorn into attack, about 70 from their goal.
Just had, could have been paid a mark there, a little bit unlucky.
Have a look at the pack of players around this ball. Wren will go in against White, flat-footed both players. Lekas slick to Crawford. They need him firing. Hands off to Dixon. On that right foot, White will just sit back and take an easy mark. Hands off, Bizzell, the former Cat, into the middle of the ground now. Bruce, half forward, good kick. Whelan has it out in front of himself. Taps on. Brown. Chance now. Schwarz just bombs it in long. Big ask of Neitz. Green gets his hand to it. Graham and Hawks will run out. Stephen Green in trouble. Hands back to Crawford. Over the shoulder, around the corner, hugging the boundary, and the D's will see it over the line. So they retain possession on that outer side. Half forward it is. 3 minutes in, the Hawks lead by a point.
We just see the Hawthorn bench there, and Lance Piccioni is one of those players on the bench, but they do it very well, Hawthorn. They get numbers back in defence, and they get total support from all their players.
Wren and Schwarz. Wren just maybe the fingernail. Leoncelli will be looking for a much improved year this year. He was disappointing last season, had a few shoulder problems. And Richard Vandenberg.
He's one tough cookie.
He had a pretty good Wizard Home Loans Cup competition, and he's a big improver for the Hawks.
So Stephen Powell being eased back into the action, starting on the bench, but there'll be nothing easy about playing today because it's so hot, as we said. Top of 27 expected. Harford's kick well judged by Bruce, who was committed to playing on. The switch was a little dangerous, and in the end they had to really work hard to get out of trouble, but they've done it effectively enough. Wheatley put White into trouble. Nicholson. It looked like they may have been overdoing it, the Demons. This is a high tackle there on Armstrong. He went to ground. Free kick, it's been paid. It's a Melbourne free.
They definitely overdid it, Hutto.
Quick kick in was all right. Brown. He did not wait behind. Slide it into goal. And it gives Melbourne first blood.
On the board, they lead by 5 points. Nathan Brown, the goal scorer. Jeff White to go in against Wren. All important out of the middle. Favoured Wren down to McDonald. James it was. Trickles it just still in the middle. Good hand Zuze to Peter Walsh. D's into attack. Good kick. Green. Good use of the ball out of the middle. And in the end finds the ball in the hands of no slouch when it comes at going at goal. Brad Green, normally a beautiful kick.
Have a look at this kick. Always difficult to stop when a forward's on a lead and gets a kick like that.
So Green from right on or just inside 50 is good.
Well, I'm sure when this match started, Melbourne will be hoping to hold the Hawks, come out on level terms with them, but it's been a dream start. 2 straight to 1 behind. Wren, uncontested out of the middle. Well done. Bruce has really given them something off half back. Barlow in there. Vandenberg, still Barlow. Green, Whelan. He's a pretty tough customer. He's got superior body strength there. Goes for Armstrong. Tallis right there with him. Now the head was down from Travis Johnson, so no free kick. Leoncelli had a couple sweeping past. His kick not great. And Lekas falling into the hole, able to relieve. Now the Hawks just try and sort themselves out. I'm sure they'll be just a little bit on the back foot after those opening couple of goals. Good delivery for Barlow. Got Wren inside, but he gives that option away. We're looking for something longer. Thompson lurking pretty close to the boundary line, so he goes short. This is Harford. He's got a bit of space to go. Gets it in quickly. Dixon, who's moved off the ball and down into attack.
Well done
by Bizzell.
Did beautifully to push to the front. Will go short. Demons retain it. So pretty promising start from them. Travis Johnson has it for the D's. Chips into the middle, trying to work it into the spine of the ground.
Both teams are getting numbers back. That's why the game's been slowed up a little bit. Melbourne just have to use this ball, chip it around until an opening actually happens.
David Schwarz, a long way from home, decides to put the slipper into it. Just over wing it goes. Players fly for the ball. McCabe. Johnson did beautifully. D's into attack again. He'll drill a pass out in front of Green. Coxrow on his hammer. Can he run back onto it? He's got it on that right foot for a goal. What a start from the Demons.
Have an ideal pre-season because not so much their results, but they just couldn't get all their players out on the park. So some early pressure here on Peter Swab. Sean Wren. Jeff White. Good work from White. Uze just couldn't get in the end of it. Vandenberg working hard. Harford versus Johnson. Well done from Harford. Crawford. Now he's got a bit of space here. Sets it up. Williams is down. Thompson strong through the air, but the Demon defence standing up at the moment.
Terrific in the end. 3 players, and you talk about intent, 3 players flew for that just to make sure that that ball went over the line or rushed through for a minor score.
It was actually an excellent kick here by Shane Crawford. It went to the top of the square, and that's where the Hawthorn forwards actually wanted it, just to put the Demons under the pump a little bit, but well done by the Demon defenders.
So Woden's kicked Nicholson at half-back, took a check, had him. Loose ball, Walsh. Could have been a free header. Vandenberg pushes his way through. Hands off. Lekas knocked off the ball by Whelan. Great pressure at the moment. Uze. Normally good is Nicholson. Sharing it around to the youngster in Armstrong. Leoncelli over the head in the end of Uze, who went on. Nathan Thompson was there. McCabe. Players just feeling their way through. Harford says, I'll show you how it's done. Dixon on his own will mark.
Well, he just lost Clint Bizzell there. He just ducked back. Bizzell was actually looking up the ground watching play, and Dixon actually just fell off the back of him. You've got to watch him very closely because he can lose his opponent.
Just overuse of the ball from the D's. Benny Dixon with a chance to post Hawthorn's first goal of 2002 campaign. It's good. Beautiful kick. Dixon's first.
Well, maybe that'll settle the Hawks a little bit. Their opening goal of the season. The Demons certainly pumped. Favoured by the bounce that time, White, and put it to advantage. Gave Travis Johnson a chance in amongst all that, and gee, did pretty well. Armstrong that flipped it out. No throw played. Schwarz having to go backwards. He's in trouble. He took them on, but he did well to be able to release Whelan and now Wheatley. Uze pushing for him. White waited. Thompson didn't wait. And he reaped the rewards. Green, Vandenberg. They're loose away to his left. Mark Williams back in the square. But Vandenberg does it himself. He does it himself. And the Hawks hit back quickly with consecutive goals. And Richard Vandenberg kicks their second. And the margin back to 4.
Well, Dave, he is an exciting player, Richie Vandenberg. We saw a fair bit of him through the Wizard Cup home loans competition, but we just see here he's got great pace, and he really did finish it off with a great kick to kick his first goal of the game.
Nathan Thompson's work too, his bullocking work, his ability to get his arms free after his tackle to get it out and set Hawthorn up was pretty good as well.
Johnny Barker starting off on the bench, and I guess he'll be on the ground pretty shortly.
I'm interested. David Schwarz is doing a lot of work across half-back for the D's at the moment. Interrupted pre-season. He has to last the game. Uze out of the middle for the D's. Beautiful kick. He's a sensational user of the ball. So important the D's. Neitz marks. 45-degree angle will go from just inside 50.
Well, we just see here Uze, one of the best kicks in the competition, but it just tells you the importance of getting the ball out of the middle. They got first use Melbourne, and they got a nice kick away to David Neitz on a nice lead.
David Neitz' kicking can let him down at times. The Demon skipper with the responsibility, looking for his first, and goes at goal and just goes to the left, so it's only a minor score. 3-1-19, the Demons. They lead by 5 points. The Hawks are 2-2-14.
Steve, you would have played on David many times. Do you think he's more value as a forward or a defender?
Well, I think he can play at both ends, but certainly when I played him in the forward line, he's a very hard man to stop. He's very quick and very strong.
Joel Smith goes for distance, and Nathan Thompson and Jade Rawlings. A couple of pretty handy targets.
Oh, great mark.
He's got Leckis breaking through the middle. Green back to Rawlings. Nothing ahead in terms of a decent kick. That's why he went as short as he did. Not 15. No, it was paid as 15.
Stephen Green getting out on his own at the moment.
Getting a lot of the footy at the moment. And no one coming at him. So he was able to advance and go for Dixon. He got rid of Bizzell nicely. Just cleared him out. Bizzell, who's played most of his footy in attack for Geelong, with a pretty key role here against Ben Dixon.
Well, I think one of the reasons, Sauce, is that at the moment the D's just lacking that extra height. Alice is out.
Well, I think you're spot on there, Dukes. All Hawthorn have to do is get it down quick into their forward line.
And Dixon can be a very precise kick. And what about that for precision? What a goal!
So Benny Dixon starts with 2 goals. 6 goals from the G. 15.5 minutes first quarter. Fantastic start. It'll be about sustaining it now. White out wide. Travis Johnson for the D's has a player out wide, decides to do it alone on that right foot. Beautiful kick. Oh, having to work for it was Green. Hawks there. McCabe too high. No. Crawford does beautifully into space, and the Graham has time. Will go short to Leckis over the top. Hawks now are going. Harford. Green doing the shepherding off the ball. Harford drills inside 50. Barker's got it. Barker came from the blind side, made the ball his very own, and will go back from right on 50 directly in front, Sauce, to go at goal.
Well, he's just come onto the ground, Johnny Barker, one of the true form players last year in the competition, but he's improved incredibly over the last couple of years, and to have 2 forwards like Johnny Barker and Ben Dixon as your 2 half forwards, they really do have an asset up forward, the Hawks.
Well, he started the game on the bench, has come on, so headaches for Neil Danaher trying to reshuffle to get an opponent on Barker. He goes at goal, inside 50 for a goal. So Barker's on the board.
Oh, well, Barker kicked the goal. Daniel Chick has yet to get a possession, which is amazing. We talked about him before the match as being so important, but so far he's been kept very quiet.
Well, he's in the middle now, Hutto, so part of the Hawthorn rotation.
From the centre bounce, it's Melbourne who desperately need to just answer. Hawthorn have kicked the last 4 goals. Leckis using Rawlings through the middle. He's got Thompson or McCabe. Thompson had plenty of options, or McCabe lost his footing. Can't blame the cricket pitches anymore. Kick is in the direction of Barlow, but he was outnumbered. Uze usually kicks the ball, but that time he found teammates by hand. Jeff White run down and penalised. Nicholson got away with it earlier, and Daniel Chick was the tackler. Quickly he gets it into Barker, and he's taken the mark. Holland. Two big blokes down there.
Did he actually take it on that second bite cleanly, Hutto?
Well, there seemed to be some doubt.
Well, I suppose in the end, Steve, it was a pack mark.
It was a pack mark. Might have hit the Melbourne player on the back of the head.
It did. It clearly did.
But what about the play by Daniel Chick? He's chased his opponent for 30, 40 metres and he's caused the turnover, and you'd pay good money just to come and watch Daniel Chick play.
And Nick Holland, who did so well last year to get back just before the finals, had a shocking season with 2 shoulder problems and hasn't helped his kicking behind. So 4-3, and Hawthorn just letting Melbourne off the hook there a fraction.
Just a bit of concern. I think Melbourne got off to... We'll just have a look at the mark here. He does get first bite on it. Well, it did come off the Melbourne players back there, but just a bit of concern. Melbourne got off to a great start, but Hawthorn just picked them up so easily.
So the D's through Wheatley run it out. Oh, under pressure, Nicholson back to Wheatley. He's wrapped up in the end. Walsh goes in. He'll find the boundary. And best option in the end, under a lot of pressure, the D's. Boundary throw in.
Just have the inside 50s. Hawthorn 10 to Melbourne 6.
Certainly taken over since the Melbourne onslaught. 5 minutes, 3 goals was yielded by the D's early in the game. Johnny Barker comes up with it. Free kick, infringement off the ball. Will go in long. Holland may be the option again. Flat-footed, second bite, couldn't mark. The Demons through Uze overran it. Johnson back to mop up. D's doing a lot of their work in defence at the moment. Goes in short. Jeff White takes it. So they're off and running. Chips into Walsh. They're into the middle of the ground, the D's. He'll go into half forward. Beautiful kick. Green on the lead, takes it. Has a goal. Will chip up now. Neitz on his way out, takes it. So beautiful open forward line for Melbourne. A lot easier to work. David Neitz will go back, and he had a shot from a similar position earlier. Let's hope he can do a little bit better.
He's actually Brad Green creating a few problems for Adrian Cox. He's getting away from him far too easily, and he's able to get the kick away to David Neitz.
So David Neitz take 2 as an opportunity. Missed the earlier shot at goal. They trail by 8 points, the D's. Neitz. They need this one, and he doesn't let them down. I think he's got this one. He has.
Well, Stephen Powell, who missed the entire 2001 season with the dreaded osteitis pubis, is on the boundary line and looks ready to come on. There's going to be a lot of rotations this afternoon with the heat. 4-3 to 4-1. Now, Melbourne have won 5 out of the 7 out of the middle, 5-2 out of the centre. This one they don't win a lot. They did have some control over the ball. Paccioni, this is Stephen Green. He's almost within range. He's made good contact. Just stops on the line. Barlow couldn't get boot to ball. Well done by Nicholson.
Oh, Barlow and Nicholson.
Now the umpire
free.
Surely hasn't. He's paid it down the ground. He saw the second one.
Well, Barlow was a little bit disappointed with being met, I think. A little bit earlier as that ball was sailing through. Nicholson knocked it through.
Barlow came back at him again, and he was the one penalised. So Nicholson with the ball, looks up ahead, hasn't got a great deal on offer at this stage. Hawks manning up into the middle. Brown, the target. McCabe was strong and late and illegal.
They have to be inch perfect, Sauce, going into the middle of the ground and not exposing your team. They really do have to find their mark.
Spot on, they do, and particularly when the opposition get their numbers back.
The numbers are back now. Powell, what a start this would be. He kicks so many goals just like that. Just like that. Welcome back, Stephen Powell. What a boost in confidence for Melbourne. 5-1-31. Hawthorn 4-4-28.
Well, it is a dream start for Powell. As we said, he missed last season, but what a lovely left foot kick that was. Something that Melbourne was lacking last year, but they've got this goal kicker and midfielder back in their side, and let's just hope that he can play a full season for them.
Well, let's hope he's able to run the game out as well. Leoncelli getting a little bit of treatment. The heat, the humidity making its mark there. Terrific game. It's a 3-point lead to the D's thanks to Stephen Powell. James McDonald in the thick of things. Thompson trying to pull away. Wrapped up. Pachoni's in there for the Hawks. Walsh making sure he's going nowhere. And we have another ball up. Lance Pachoni. A line pretty similar to Vandenberg in his style of play. Will push the ball forward. Crawford tries to do that. Johnson, good first quarter. Has had a bit of the ball. James McDonald over top. Powell again. Off wing, goes towards Neitz. Couldn't mark it. Big ask. Uze tried to keep it in front of himself. Pressure from the Hawks. Wrapped up. Stephen Armstrong does well. It'll come out too high to Joel Smith. Against Russell Robertson. So Smith for the Hawks. Just chip up. Graham accepts. Hands back to Joel Smith. Will go around. His willingness to evade is a key to his game. On that left foot, no one home. White will sit back and take it for the D's. Jeff White, familiar role as a ruckman, will sit back. Shocking kick, missed Armstrong. Barlow to Tallis on that left foot. Goes out wide. Good use of the body. Dixon, no. Called in the back. Bizzell will take it. And the D's ready to go into attack off halfback.
Well done by Bizzell. He's playing in front, and we just see here the benefit of playing in front. He ends up getting the free kick.
Third possession for Bizzell. Jeff White gets them moving out into the space. It wasn't a particularly good kick. Harford tracked it well. Rawlings, he's got Tallis if he needs him. Goes through the middle instead. Gee, Stephen Green's had an enormous amount of the ball. He just rushed that a bit. Maybe just panicked just a slight bit. Schwarz had a pretty open forward line, Melbourne, most of the time. Smith doubling back against Uze. Great contest at ground level. Powell. Uze.
Well done.
Well wrapped up.
Well, Uze did beautifully there, Hutto. And then to be able to go in for that second bite at it, I think that's the type of example that Neil Danaher is looking for.
He did do well. What he did do, Dakes, he gave the Melbourne forwards a second opportunity. He kept the ball inside their 50, and that's what you've got to do as a forward.
So 5-1 plays 4-4. We're getting close towards the end of the opening quarter, and Melbourne have been more than competitive. They're in front, and they'd be very well pleased at this stage, Stephen.
Well, they are. They had to get off to a good start against the Hawks, and they've done that. So I gather Neil Danaher would be delighted.
And just an enormous number of midfielders rotating off the bench. Melbourne, we've seen Williams come onto the ground. Powell. Woden's had some time on the bench.
Luke McCabe off for the Hawks. And when you consider how physical the game has been, it's quite surprising that we've only had one player possibly come off.
Stephen Green coming off the ground as well.
Just got the tackle count here too, Hutto. Hawthorn have 16 and Melbourne 6, which is quite interesting. Both teams are really having a crack, so the Hawks in front there.
Well, they've been chasing the Demons a bit, haven't they? On a couple of occasions, Melbourne have managed to keep their forward line open pretty well. It's working effectively at the moment. 5-1 plays 4-4. Wren and Schwarz. Uze so often comes on as the third man. Powell, not this time.
Should have made more of that. Stephen Powell, and had a little bit of room. Could have even possibly have taken the chance to get onto that left foot of his.
I think it's important that Melbourne just try and slow the game up in this quarter, just so they go in at the quarter time break in front.
So Cox redirects the ball the opposite side of the ground. Big ask in the end. And jumping was Travis Johnson. Did enough to bring it to ground. Boundary throw-in, so the D's get another bite at it. 35 from goal. Players just readjusting. Schwarz will contest this one. Rawlings may be his opponent. Pachoni knocking a Melbourne player off the ball. Loney kicking the Hawks out of danger. It's on wing, knocked out to Harford. Slapped it over the top to Vandenberg. This is good into space to Wren. Back to Vandenberg. Missed him in the end. Uze's back there for the D's. Did well to just knock that ball up. Brown, Johnson, over the top to Bruce into space. Oh, running into trouble. Uze's gone. Two players wrapped him up. Players' willingness terrific at the moment. Schwarz over the top, and we have a ball up. Well, at the moment, just trying to work it into the open. the D's, and one of the reasons for their overuse is just the Hawthorn pressure also.
I mentioned a minute ago, we just talked about the Hawks tackling rates, and that was very much evident on that occasion.
Well, they're breaking the space down to the D's. They just haven't got time to kick, so your only other option is handball. The ball toe poked out wide. Johnstone runs back onto it. On that left foot, drills a pass. Not too good in the end. Beautifully done by James McDonald. So being shepherded and then runs his good 30 metres into an arc. Neitz was pushed in the end by Graham. Not seen by the umpire. And Hawks in trouble. Yes, they are. Green hasn't got it.
He's paid the mark.
Oh. Boy, will they get out of jail there, Hawthorn. I don't know about the kicking. Maybe it was their only option.
Well, they've been under a lot of pressure down there through this opening quarter. Tim Clark. And now he's got a man on the wing on his own. It's Lance Piccioni, who's got Chick. He's got Holland leading into a good bit of space. Quite close to the line. No mark. Was it a free kick? It was.
I'd just like to see the tempo controlled a little bit at the moment. The players are a bull at a gate, and really sometimes it's nice just to take a deep, long breath and just slow the game down.
Dixon judged it well, just couldn't pull it in. Crawford, good hands, Loney off the wrong side. There's a free kick. It's a Melbourne ball for a throw. And it's coming back to Luke Williams. So 30 minutes have gone in this opening quarter. In Melbourne, despite being underdogs and coming off a very ordinary pre-season, are in front. They lead by 3. They've got about 30 seconds here to try and build to that margin.
Powell was on his own again.
And they are on their own. McDonald chipping it forward. Long shot at goal from Whelan. And Matthew Whelan, right on quarter time, has given the Demons an unexpected bonus. 37 plays 28. Melbourne in this opening quarter have kicked 6 goals, which is great reward for effort.
It is, but what about the quarter that Matthew Whelan's playing? He's actually playing on Daniel Chick, and he's completely kept him out of the game. And to kick a goal late in this first quarter is an absolute credit to him, and he got the bonus he absolutely deserves.
Well, it's been a terrific matchup in the end. He's had the ball, negating roll, and then may finish a quarter with the last Demon goal.
Chick has only had 1 possession for this quarter.
31 minutes played in his first quarter. It's a 9-point lead to the Demons. Pre-season.
37 plays 28. Melbourne in this opening quarter have kicked 6 goals, which is great reward for effort.
It is, but what about the quarter that Matthew Whelan's playing? He's actually playing on Daniel Chick, and he's completely kept him out of the game. And to kick a goal late in this first quarter is an absolute credit to him, and he got the bonus he absolutely deserves.
Well, it's been a terrific matchup in the end. He's had the ball, negating roll, and then may finish a quarter with the last Demon goal.
Chick has only had 1 possession for this quarter.
31 minutes played in his first quarter. It's a 9-point lead to the Demons. Pre-season form's been thrown out the window. White jumped and missed it. Schwarz tried to go through. Rawlings is there. Powell threw it away. Leckus, hands off. Players have to be good in this type of area. Wren slapped it out to Vandenberg over the top into space. Leckus as the siren goes for quarter time. In a terrific first quarter of football. Great physical presence from both teams, and there's the score. The Demons 6-1-37. They lead by 9 points. The Hawks are 4-4-28.
Well, I think both teams will be fairly happy with that. We just see Peter Swap there. His team kicked 4 goals in that quarter, but well, there's a lot of footy left in this game. But I think Melbourne, the way they started the game, they were first in. They got first use of the ball, and the game that Matthew Whelan is playing in the back line on Daniel Chick has been sensational, and they've got plenty of avenues up forward with the likes of Brad Green and Neitz, and we really should see some firing power up there.
Well, they kicked the first 3 goals, the Demons, and the last 3, and they lead at quarter time.
Drill a pass out in front of Green. Cox on his hammer. Can he run back onto it? He's got it on that right foot for a goal. What a start from the Demons.
Well, quarter time and Melbourne 6-1-37. Brad Green kicking 2 of those opening quarter goals. He's been very sprightly up forward for them. Dixon's kicked 2, the only multiple for the Hawks, but Melbourne coming out and really surprising us here in the opening quarter on a very hot day at the MCG. And we can see there that both sides in the shade during the break at quarter time. So obviously they're not worried about what happened to Brisbane way back in, when was it, about 5 or 6 years ago when they went in the shade at 3/4 time. We always used to remind Jason Dunstall about that, Steve. Now, first quarter, some interesting highlights. Stephen Green was terrific. In fact, greens for both sides were good.
They were good. We just see here, he actually had a very good season last year, but this is one of his assets. When he's on the lead, he's very quick, I should say, but he is a great kick for goal as well. And as we said early on, the Demons would be loving to have him to have an exceptional season this year.
Well, Travis Johnson, good on ball, as we say week in, week out. Your midfield wins, you're well on your way to winning the game of football. Johnston's done well. Marcus Whelan in the tagging type role. Brad Green, again, that was his second goal. And I think Neil Danaher, the man on screen, just running back to the coach's box, would be pretty happy with the way his team went about it, Hutto.
Let's get down to Christy Malthouse and just see how that both teams are coping with the heat.
Anthony, as you said, it is really warm down here. It looks like it's going to probably reach that temperature of 27 degrees. Now, Hawthorn are really looking after their players, trying to keep their body temperature down. As they come off, they use these ice buckets. It's cold water, full of ice, and then they use these ice vests. They put them on the players, and then they soak towels in the ice water, put it around their necks and wipe their faces down. Of course, they've really got to keep that body temperature down, and that's how they're doing it before they send them back out into the ground.
Good for boundary riders too, Christy. We'll see how you cope as the afternoon goes on. 6-1 plays 4-4. About to start the second quarter from the MCG. Let's see how the Hawks respond to what was a terrific opening quarter. Wren, in the end, well played by Travis Johnson. Got it in there quickly. It's been open down there, rolling, slapping it back. He knows
it's dangerous.
It was dangerous. Just knows how good Joel Smith is, though. Swoops on anything. Harford also got plenty of space. No one coming at him. Some good shepherding. Sets it up forward. Great clearing thump away. Daniel Chick, only a second touch. But what a touch. No, it wasn't a great touch. Whelan, well, he has been fantastic. Marcus Whelan and Matthew Whelan, and now they're away again. I think Marcus Whelan was a Brownlow medalist back in the 30s. Wheatley, as they hold on to it.
I trust you, Hutto.
McDonald, Anthony McDonald. 6-1 plays 4-4, gets it in quick. Well placed kick for Green. Cameron Bruce, who's now up forward after starting in defence. Handball, Neitz. Here's Green again. We know how accurate he is. He doesn't shoot for goal. And Stephen Powell. Well, what a great start he's made.
Yeah, terrific start by Stephen Powell, but I was just watching Brad Green there, the amount of area he covered when the ball was coming into their forward 50. He worked on 3 or 4 occasions to just make an option for the players upfield, and he ended up getting his reward to be able to chip a short pass across to Stephen Powell.
Also, David Neitz's shepherding was terrific and instrumental in Green winning possession.
We just saw there that Powell has been on for 11 minutes out of a total of 33. But he has had some impact with one lovely long goal. Unfortunately, he's kicking on that occasion. Not as he would have liked. It was almost an amazing situation.
He didn't make the distance.
That is amazing. And you know, the thing about it, Dave, there was no one back there.
No, that is incredible.
Well, distance should never have been a problem. The other problem was, I think he had his head down, coming in and kicking execution. I don't think he looked up at any stage or had the head up.
David Schwarz tried to clear a path for himself. Was that high? It was. It was a high tackle, and Stephen Armstrong, he's going to get a shot for goal. From a distance, he looks a bit like Stephen Tingo, doesn't he, with the number 2 and the blonde locks?
You're spot on there, but I was just watching David Schwarz. He does it time and time again. He takes the ball out of the ruck contest, and he did it on that occasion, and he takes his opponents on, and he does it time and time again, and the Hawthorn players really have to watch out for that.
Terrific work ethic, David Schwarz.
Oh, he's a great team player.
Yep. Tell you what, he's had a good initiation. Stephen Armstrong, Hutto, he's 2 or 3 times he's been in a few scraps.
Melbourne are very pleased to get him. I think at number 25 in the draft. He kicks. He made the goal umpire work a bit, but he's got the goal. And great encouragement for the young man, extending the Demons' lead. 7-1 plays 4-4.
Just watch Schwarz here. He does that often. He's a strong man, and that's why he's able to do it. And he caused that goal just through sheer strength and got the handball over there, but well done by Armstrong there.
Well, by running off with the ball also, he dragged 2 players away for Hawthorn. Armstrong on his own. So early goal to the Demons. They continue the good work of that first quarter. They now lead by 15 points. White will jump. Too early it was. Wren slapped it up in the air. Anthony McDonald to right. Slapped it to Uze. Hands over to top. Powell been busy. Walsh. Another chance for the D's from 40. Keeps it low, and in the end Cox should mark and does. Should have made more of it. Peter Walsh probably could have slowed down a little bit on execution. Goes out wide. McCabe now. So chips it around to Joel Smith, and this is an area of the game the Hawks haven't been able to break clear of defence. Out wide to Tim Clark. Towards wing. Harford, good mark. Could have been 50. Here's Travis Johnson just manhandling him. Harford goes back. Chips over to top. Leckers trouble. Schwarz did beautifully. Travis Johnson in the middle. Trying to just open up the Hawks. Leoncelli, left foot. Chips. Brad Green's got it. So
Legacy's hurt too, Dakes, after that collision with Schwarz.
He's been Schwarz again, just throwing the body in to the square. Neitz got it. David Neitz, great use of the body. It is all Melbourne, and with Leckers, look like he's in a bit of trouble. I think the Hawks are in a bit of trouble.
Well, really, Melbourne be delighted with that effort. We saw David Schwarz. He's a big fella. He used his body there to take Leckers out of the game. And David Neitz also took a great mark through sheer strength. Both their big fellas getting into the game.
Needs to line up for 2. Goal number 2, that is. 5 minutes into this second quarter. No let up from the D's at the moment. They lead by 15. The skipper with a chance to extend that. And he does. He maximises. So Neitz has 2. The D's have 8. And they now lead by 21 points. It's 49 to the Demons. The Hawks are 28.
Well, we talked about David Neitz earlier, Dakes. He caused the goal for young Armstrong, but he also caused this one here. He's certainly a body player, and that's when David Schwarz is in full flight, he certainly does throw his body around.
You're just hoping that he's able to keep it up too. He's had an interrupted pre-season.
Well, Melbourne have kicked 5 goals in a row. They kicked the first 3, then Hawthorn kicked 4. Shane Woden, he has had very little impact on the game, but we can see out of 38 total minutes of playing time, he's only played 21. So the Demons certainly looking after their key midfielders in terms of playing time on this very hot day. And the midfielders are doing the job for them at the moment. Adem Uze. Oh, was that a trip?
Yeah, I think so.
Joel Smith taking it away anyway.
Uze should have kept running in line with the ball.
Wren's got Harford in close. He can. Oh, it was a poor kick from Wren. They're letting themselves down with some pretty ineffective disposals at the moment. Crawford's been pretty quiet. He's had 4 touches only, and once again Melbourne with desperation win the footy. Powell kick was quick but effective, and Uze, who's starting to slice them up a bit, delivers again for Green. It was too hot. McCabe front. Oh, he's passed his way through. The big man, David Neitz, led from the front. What a goal! Inspiring football by the Demons. They are a team inspired. 9-1-55 Melbourne. 3 goals to their captain. They've kicked 6 in a row, and the Hawks still 4-4.
Have a look at this.
Well, that's what big men are supposed to do, and we've just seen the last 5 minutes of this quarter. Both Schwarz and Neitz have been throwing their body around, and this is a great goal by David Neitz.
Oh, talk about the physical side of the Demons game has been sensational. McCabe, I don't think he was sure what hit him then. Or Hawks through Chick in the middle now to try and get him going. Takes a bounce as he runs onto that right foot. Hawks needing a goal. Will go in long. Thompson Holland was back there flat-footed. Loose ball will come to Crawford. They need a goal. Hands off to Chick. Standing start, round the body. Back there is Brown for the D's to take a mark. They're doing it at both ends at the moment. Goes out wide. McDonald Anthony it was. Goes short to his brother. No, it was Woden. Vandenberg goes around, then hands off. Crawford, does he hand off? No. Goes around in circles at the moment. No way home. Will kick towards the goal square. Just pass, and Bruce will take it for the D's.
He did well there on the last line, Bruce.
Gee, they're playing with confidence at the moment, aren't they, the Demons? And in contrast, the Hawks
got numbers too.
Just don't seem themselves at all. Leoncelli. Oh, great kick. Opens it up for Powell. He can carry it all the way. He went with a look-away kick. It perhaps wasn't as good as he would have liked. Green found some space. He loves to run the arc. He wants Neitz. He wants the captain again. Maybe there was some hanging on there. Doesn't matter at the moment. Powell. Neitz again. Leaves the space. Whelan trying to get the best option.
Oh, yes!
What a performance by the Demons. Adem kicks his first goal of the game. David Neitz has kicked 3.
Well, we just see here just the confidence that the Melbourne players have got in each other. They get there, they get numbers towards the ball. There were plenty of blocks in that contest, and as a result, they end up kicking a nice goal through Adem.
What a beautiful kick. And I just want to ask one thing. Did any of you experts pick Melbourne or give him a chance?
Can I say yes now?
Boy, the D's have been very good.
This is the minutes played of some of their key players, so they really have, in a match that's lasted just over 40 minutes, looked after a lot of their midfielders.
So White goes over the top, full of running at the moment. I know it's an old football cliche, but the D's have just worked awfully hard. 10 minutes into the second quarter, the lead now out to 33.
And he's been good, Jeff White, in the middle too, Dakes.
And Sean Wren's off the ground, Steve. Barker back on the ground, so Thompson doing the ruck work.
Let's hope Jeff White can do it for 4 quarters now. He has had his problem with stamina and endurance over the past 3 or 4 seasons. Schwarz off the ground. As good as a kicker was, it's fantastic. Actually inside 50 now. Williams slaps it out, nearly threw it out to Powell with a little bit of time on that right foot. Around the shoulder. Neitz held on to in the end. Not paid by the umpire. Hawthorn under a lot of pressure, and we have a ball up about just inside 20 metres from the Hawthorn goal, as Stevie Powell looks like he's coming off for a well-earned rest.
Unlucky not to get a free kick too there, David Neitz.
Now, red alert, 6 disposals in the last 10 minutes for Stephen Powell. Gives you an idea of his work rate. Ball to be bounced. Another scoring chance for the D's. Ball close to the line. Williams shares it with Anthony McDonald. Will go short. Good kick. Just didn't get its mark. Leoncelli threw himself in. Tallis met him. And in the end, we have another ball up. Players appeal. Hawthorn players it was.
It was the right thought by McDonald there. He needed to square it up, but he just didn't execute the kick.
Leoncelli on screen. Vandenberg has a job on he. Tallis on the dangerous Uze. Ball's bounced. Players will go in. Harford, possibly Hawthorn's bet. Joel Smith, this is what they need from Joel Smith. A little bit of running off defence. Crawford couldn't mark. Walsh on his hammer. Holland over the top. Look for Thompson. Missed his mark by Woden. Chance. Beautiful kick. Half forward. Has a player running in Bruce. Whelan will go short. Bruce has shepherded and will take the mark.
Good protection by Schwarz there. Just held his man out to allow Bruce to.
So Bruce, all on his own. There's McDonald. And Anthony McDonald now with a chance. Slight angle from just inside 50 to add another to the Demon score. Again, the lead-up play, all on his own. So he sat back. He didn't get in too early. And at the last minute after Bruce won possession, Anthony McDonald was able to find himself in a pretty kickable position here.
He's playing his 100th game today, Dax.
Good running player for the D's. Teams up with his brother James McDonald, who naturally came back from a knee reconstruction. And that one, lack of practice, possibly. Only a minor score.
Steve, one of the things, I guess, on Hawthorn's side is it's so early in the match. In a high-scoring game, it's 10 goals to 4, but we've gone only 13 minutes in the second quarter.
Yeah, there's plenty of time, but full credit to Melbourne. They're in first and they're playing very well as a team.
Tallis uses Rawlings on the way out. Up to the wing. Thompson, who's in the ruck now, got the height over Woden. Didn't complete it, though. Lekis goes for Holland. One-on-one big test here for Nick Holland. Got the fist onto it in the end. Walsh, they've just been mopping up magnificently and then switching play and running on the outer side. Luke Williams this time. He's got Green, who's led Cox all around, and Uze, who's been brilliant. Look at Green. Double back superbly. Nowhere to go. He goes for home. Audacious effort from 60.
It was a talk, 2 on the run.
Well, the way things are going, it was probably worth a crack.
He actually had to do that. There was no one back there for him.
So the Hawks trying to sort out half-back, so often using Joel Smith to deliver.
Not on screen, but further up the ground. Every Hawthorn player is manned up.
Daniel Chick has had a tough time of it today. Takes that one all right. At Vandenberg in short, goes longer. Holland's working overtime. No interference against Leoncelli. Did well, and as a result, Travis Johnson takes it and then runs and delivers for Bizzell on the wing. Armstrong, in fact. He's got Neitz in short. Once again, the Hawks defenders have stayed behind to try and make it difficult. Cox wins that battle one-on-one, wanted to take it out and did in the end. Probably didn't have to, as it turned out.
You called it beautifully, Hutto. Wanted to take it out, and he did take it out.
Just a quick one on Neil Danaher. He is using his interchange bench very, very well. He's not scared to rotate his players on and off the field, and I think he's getting the benefits, and it might show later on in the game also.
It was amazing to see that Hawthorn haven't scored since the 22-minute mark of the opening term. Crawford imitating a ruckman, but couldn't deliver. McDonald. And a bounce.
The D started beautifully in the game. The first 5-6 minutes of football, it's all about your intent, and I made mention of that before the game. And really, it has flowed continually through the first half of football for Melbourne.
And it's always nice to get a good start in hot conditions too, Dakes.
And the other thing with that, Steve, is just basically your preparation. If you haven't had the preparation, we get into April, the nicer weather, you will be found out. So Travis Johnson waited and took it and then kept it low. Good kick, Green.
Playing well, this kid.
Play on. Must have been touched. Joel Smith under pressure. Wasn't good handball or good use of the ball. Still under a lot of pressure. Lekis back out there to Loney. Nathan Loney back in the middle. Brown will run onto it, as they have for much of the game. The D sharing it beautifully. Bizzell goes short and finds his mark in Leoncelli. It has been all Melbourne at the moment. Uze, they changed direction, has time, drills a pass, it'll bounce. Neitz took it and ran away. Up on his feet beautifully, around the body, he'll go across goal and not able to keep it in as Stephen Armstrong should be a free to the Hawks.
Let's get an injury update from Christie.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, the Hawks are really worried about Luke McCabe. He actually came to the bench and asked to be taken off after a heavy collision, and he's got some ice on his collarbone. They're just testing that now to see whether they think it's broken or not, but they are pretty worried about it, and he doesn't look too good.
It's a poor handball from Harford. From Holland to Harford, put his teammate under pressure. White, the aggressor there. The D's have a boundary thrown, but more importantly, it's in their forward line.
And they're starting to be stretched, the Hawks. Holland doing some ruck work well up the ground, wide over the top. So much momentum with the Demons. It's been a cracking match from them so far.
We talked about Neil Danaher actually using his bench, but one concern he does have is White, who is their only ruckman. So Hawks are able to manipulate their ruckman and give them a nice breather.
But Thompson's spent some time on the ball in this quarter, but it hasn't helped him get near it. He has not had a touch.
He's just too good a player not to have had a touch in 15 minutes of football, Nathan Thompson.
Well, he'd have a few teammates, I reckon, at the moment, because Melbourne are just dominating. Rawlings under pressure, perhaps dispossessed without the footy, no free kick. In the middle, Crawford's got the pace here. He might be able to whip away.
Keep going.
Let's see if he can use it, Shane Crawford. He does. He uses it beautifully, puts it in the path of Nathan Loney.
You just need to run at a defence. You certainly need to run and draw, and on that occasion, a little bit lucky, the Neitz kick running the wrong way. Crawford able to run onto it and draw players over the top. Players unmarked.
He is quick, Shane Crawford, but it just tells you what a poor kick into the attacking half can do. When if it's not spot on, the rebound comes out and they get the use up the other end.
Well, we know Nathan Loney can cover the distance without a problem. It's a beautiful looking kick in terms of distance, but didn't get anywhere near the accuracy. And Hawthorn have scored for the first time in the quarter. Peter Swab not one to show a great deal of emotion, but he must be feeling pretty sick in there.
Well, he wouldn't be too happy. 6 months of prep work for this game hasn't gone to plan. Boy, are they way off skew here. Walsh will run it away for the D's into the middle. Good kick. White hands off Wheatley. Players, he could have gone to Bizzell, who was at half forward. Green can go to him now. Bizzell's in that area, has it. Will go at goal and thump, and in the end ran out of room off the side of the boot. Good pressure from the Hawks in the end. Tallis should take it out of their back pocket.
We just see Shane Crawford here, Dakes. He's had 6 possessions in the last 10 minutes. He is their captain and he is trying to lift the Hawks.
He's a key, Sauce. Need him finding the ball and more importantly finding it through that corridor. Ball coming back, it actually will be thrown in. I think it might have been touched off the boot. Bizzell off the Bizzell kick. Another chance for the D's. Schwarz, this is where he's good, as Steve Silvani mentioned earlier. Thumped back towards goal. Joel Smith nowhere to kick it to. Travis Johnson on the full. Actually came off his boot. Beautifully picked up by the boundary umpire. Loney for the Hawks in the direction of Dixon. No chance to keep it in. And we have a boundary throw in. It's still at half back, member side of the ground.
They have been attacking the D's. They've had a number of opportunities in the last couple of minutes, Dakes, to actually get a shot at goal, but their execution hasn't been great.
All to come in. Schwarz again front position. Don't know how the Hawks will win possession. Giving up front to Schwarz. Travis Johnson good in the traffic. Gave it away. Loney to half. A chance for Hawthorn now. They need to double up. They need another goal. Thompson. Yes, sir. Jeff White. That's the type of form that the D's will be looking for. Out wide, they are running. No free in the end. So the umpire has put the whistle away, which is a good sign. Wheatley, been a good contest. Check. Whelan sharing it around Deegs. Nicholson will shepherd now after handing to Wheatley. They're forward a wing and going inside. Green will have to meet it. Well done in the end. Was Mark Graham. Hawthorn out of danger.
Gee, stood up well then under pressure, Joel Smith. They're starting to run a bit more, the Hawks, but still they're letting themselves down with their decision-making and disposals at times. Dixon with the mark. Got a couple in the middle. That's Green. He's loose. He's clear. He's got Loney in short. Goes longer. Nick Holland or Thompson. One of them are going to take a mark. Just couldn't on that occasion. And Nathan Brown there to clean up. As they've done so well, running off their half-back line. Russell Robertson back on the ground. He's got Armstrong away to his right. Goes longer into full forward, looking for Green.
Well done.
I think he needs to make a move.
He did it beautifully to keep Sauce to keep Cox under the ball.
He did. He just seems to have his match-up. This kid just seems to have his measure, and we just see here he's been an improver, and he's got off to a flyer so far, and a very, very good player for the D's.
You wouldn't have had to play on him, I wouldn't have thought, Steve, in the past.
Too quick for me.
He's having a great game.
He wasn't the only one.
Plenty. Needs to kick it.
So Green comes in and you back him there. He puts it through. Melbourne, 11 goals. Hawthorn 4. And the margin is becoming very, very dangerous now for the Hawks.
Well, it was a great build-up, really. That ball ended up into the Hawthorn inside 50, and Melbourne just ran it out. So, and they've been doing it all day, and they've got the forwards to go to, and they're actually capitalising on their opportunities where Hawthorn are struggling to get a catch inside their 50.
So Brad Green has 3 goals. He joins David Neitz as the leading scorer. Here's that Jeff White mark.
Great grab.
Beautiful. And when you're sitting under the ball like that and Jeff White's in the area, you are in trouble. The lead is 39. I haven't got the confidence to tell you I told you so. Leoncelli, Demons into attack. Beautifully done to keep it in front of himself. Robertson, who spent a bit of time on the bench. Walsh will run onto that right foot, has time, and again, good option selection. Has the ball in the middle of the ground. Anthony McDonald for the D's. Has players, has Nathan Brown in the middle, and he's on his own. So they've just straightened this ball up, so he has a full view of his 50-metre arc. There's that the look from behind Nathan Brown. Players trying to readjust.
They're doing well, Melbourne. They keep moving inside their 50, so they're trying to get some options happening.
So Brown will go short to Bizzell. And at the moment, Hawks trying to break down the space, trying to close down the space inside 50 for the D's.
You just see how difficult it is, Dakes, just to get a kick inside the 50 here.
Just see how good Melbourne are at creating a little bit of space down there. Always have the option to go in long. They have the tall marking options. Travis Johnson, and I'm just watching Jeff White, who's drifted down in the forward line. They'll be inclined to nearly bomb it into the air.
Just got to keep working this around, and the Melbourne forwards just have to get on their bike again and make sure there's some space. Just see the uncontested possessions. Hawthorn 68, Melbourne 104. A huge advantage.
So their use of the ball has been a highlight of this Demon first half. Very good. Just holding it up at the moment. Back into the middle. Whelan will take it. So he's pretty fresh at the moment. Whelan over the top to Nicholson, who's drifted down. He'll go short. Shocking kick. Dixon will mark. Chance now. By hand goes to Barker.
Nowhere to
Does
go.
it give him a chance? No, in the end he's wrapped up. Good pressure at the moment. Trying to take it was Armstrong. Didn't have it. And we'll go back to Johnny Barker. So it's actually off the ball. And he knocks someone over.
Kicks it quickly for Crawford. The Hawks on the rebound. They have got some numbers down there. Rawlings directing traffic, telling Crawford to be a bit more central. Paccioni goes for Rawlings. He's got to go Dixon, and from the back, Thompson.
That's better.
Third in line and takes the mark. Their first real solid attempt at kicking a goal in this quarter, apart from Nathan Loney, who missed that shot at goal.
Well, this is the man they need to get something out of up in the forward line. He hasn't taken too many marks, or neither of the Hawthorn forward lines have really struggled to take a mark up in their forward 50, and he's one man that can do it.
So Nathan Thompson, he's pushed it across to the right, too far by the look of it, and they are just shattered in terms of confidence at the moment.
Yeah, well, you got full credit to Melbourne. They're applying the pressure, and Hawthorn have to work very hard for every opportunity, and full credit to Melbourne, as I said.
If there was any positive in that last score, it was just the way they brought the ball on the forward line. At least they were able to find someone inside 50 and take a mark. Out wide is the kick. Nicholson is the option. Normally hands off. He does on this occasion. Stevie Powell has had a good first half and a return to football. Bizzell in the end into trouble. Powell's still running. Will go at goal from just outside 50, and he will kick a goal. It is. So what a game. What a return from Stephen Powell. The D's can do no wrong. It's 12-2-74. They now lead the Hawks by 44 points. Hawthorn are 4-6-30.
Great goal by Powell, but what about the hands here at Bizzell? He actually got wrapped up, and he was able just to squeeze the handball out to Stephen Powell, who got on that trusty left foot of his and kicked a nice 50-metre goal.
So 2 goals to Stephen Powell. And Schwabby.
Just been made to work hard today. Well, and having the Demons miss Stephen Powell in the last 12 months, but Jeff White's been brilliant out of the middle. Stephen Green, probably one of the best for the Hawks. Nathan Loney's also provided them with some run and some dash. Barlow going back for Crawford, who's been better in the second half of the quarter. Goes for Rawlings, who's opposed to Bizzell. He completed the mark well over the line.
The only saving grace
for Peter Schwab.
Well, they've moved Rawlings up to the forward line, Dakes, and obviously one of their key defenders, but they need someone to take a grab inside their 50.
As long as they can get the ball up there, that's one of the problems they have.
Thompson gives the chance to Tim Clark. They need someone to try and just get ball to boot and somehow thread a goal, don't they?
The only thing that Schwabby has to look forward to is his ability at half-time to be able to address his troops and readjust this Hawthorn team, try and ignite them, I suppose, after half-time.
Kicked 6 goals, 1 to 2 points in this quarter, and Melbourne actually kicked 6 goals, 1 in the first quarter as well. And that's how it will stay at half-time. A stunning quarter of football by Melbourne. 6-1 to 2 behinds. An amazing scoreline, Steve.
It is. Look, Neil Danaher be delighted with their effort. Every player has been committed for their footy club, and we see there just Travis Johnson, who's had a terrific first quarter. Jeff White himself has had a great game, and geez, committed footy, the Melbourne Football Club, and the Hawks have got a bit of thinking and readjusting to do at half-time.
Well, it's a very hot day at the MCG, and we wonder what sort of toll that'll take on the players as the afternoon progresses. We'll take a break and be back. It's Melbourne by 44 at half-time. Who would have thought that?
The tin taste of blood sears the throat. Stretched line.
MCG, a brilliant opening to this game. They kicked 6 goals in each of the first 2 quarters. And interesting to see they're just holding the board up to show the players to make sure they know exactly where they're going to be positioned in this second half. Still pretty warm here at the MCG. I think we can get down to Christy Malthouse. I wonder how she's coping with all the heat. Christy.
Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, it is pretty warm down here. Now, I've been into both the rooms, and as you can imagine, they're not a happy team at Hawthorn. Really looking to turn around that deficit in the second half, obviously, but one of their big problems is Luke McCabe. As I said earlier, he actually asked the bench to come off after a heavy collision in that second quarter, and he put ice on his collarbone straight away, laid on the ground, and virtually didn't move for the rest of the quarter. Spoken to Hawthorn officials. They say he's okay and that they don't think it's broken, and that he might even take part in the game. He might come back on and take further part in the game, although it was interesting to note that he didn't join in the Hawks warm-up just in the rooms at that stage. So he was obviously receiving treatment. Melbourne, well, they're just looking for a big second half and no injuries to report.
Christy Malthouse, boundary side, the Demons back out on the ground. Let's check our player rankings as statistically determined over the first half. And number 1, Travis Johnson. So he's made a great start to the year. Dakes.
Well, Travis Johnson, he's had plenty of the ball, but more importantly, has used it. Brad Green is well up there. He's going at goal. He's finished with 3 goals, so his efficiency in front of the big sticks has been very good. Hawthorn would like to see a couple of their players start pushing up. Harford has had plenty of the ball, Leckus, Crawford, but I think they've been a little bit wide and very short with their possessions.
What do they need to do, Steve?
Well, they've got to regroup, and I'm sure they would have done that at half-time, but I think it's going to be difficult for them. But everyone's just got to contribute. They've got to try and get the first couple of goals of this third quarter just to get a bit of confidence back in their team. They've got to get the ball in long and direct into their forward half because they've been unable to take a mark through their tall forwards.
Do you go back to where you started? I mean, we saw a lot of reshuffling in that quarter. Rawlings ended up forward. They tried various players in the ruck. Thompson had a run there for a while. Or do you continue on with you changing things around?
Well, I'd try a little bit of muscle out of the midfield now. I'd try and ruffle a few feathers. Pachoni, Vandenberg, Chick even. Just on throw Chick in there just for the centre bounces, then throw him back into a forward role. And even if you do put him back into the forward line, I would just give him a free run all over the place.
I tend to agree. I think he needs to go onto the ball, Dakes, get himself involved into the game. He's been well held up forward, so he's got to try and lose the tag through his running capabilities.
Well, in just under 60 minutes of play, we can see the Hawks haven't overused some of their stars. Wren probably came off more because of the impact Jeff White was having in the middle.
Well, I wouldn't be writing off the Hawks just yet. 44 points is the deficit, and in the type of conditions, and let's face it, Melbourne have been very good in the first half, and the thing you have to ask yourself is whether they're able to sustain that.
Just a couple of matchups. Holland's gone back onto the Schwarz at centre-half back. Rawlings lined up in the forward line for the Hawks.
Choney and Vandenberg in the middle for the Hawks. Wren will contest. So the boys just get a minute to themselves before we have a bounce.
Third quarter from the MCG. Hawthorn with an enormous task ahead. 4-6 plays 12-2. McDonald, Chick, letting some of his frustrations out. Pachoni ready to make the great escape.
Gee, he's never slow, Chick, getting into the middle, Sauce, is he?
He's not, but that's what he had to do. He has to get himself back involved into the game, and he does that through his tackling and chasing.
He's gone for an extended V-neck there on the jumper by the look of things.
He's normally the one dishing it out.
Pachoni, pretty clever as it turned out. Cox just lost the footing at the crucial stage. Able to regather it. Thompson, a charging Barlow. Chick came back somehow to Barlow. Still didn't get anywhere with the kick. Well read by Tim Clark. Tough ask to kick a goal from there into the square. Oh, they spoiled each other. Apologetic, Jade Rawlings.
And Thompson.
If you could turn back time.
But that's a type of... that's what Shrobby would be looking for.
Well, they're committed.
Yes, exactly. That didn't come off on that occasion. Hopefully the next one does. Wheatley chips in. So the D's retain possession. McDonald has it. It's James McDonald. So out wide. There has to be an upkeep from the Demons, not sit back on this lead now. Cox running away from goal, pushed by Johnstone, who did well and knocked his opponent off the ball, then drew players and goes over the top. A little bit of space and time. Powell goes in long in the direction, in the end, being held on to. It will be a free to Leoncelli. I think he milked it for what it was worth, but he had the all-important front position.
Played it well, Dakes.
Well, he did.
He used his body just to hold his opponent out of the ball. We just see him there backing back, just keeping his arms forward, and as a result, got a free kick. Could be a little bit lucky, though.
He definitely milked it. And in a game where they've probably allowed the game to flow a little bit and allowed it put the whistle away, a little bit disappointing. So Andrew Leoncelli, maybe a soft goal, but is he good enough to finish? He is. So the D's start early in the third. They get their chance and they've been able to put it away, the D's. Andrew Leoncelli now becomes a goal kicker. And again, Sauce, he milked it.
Yeah, it is. He did milk it, but the value of playing in front. Had just a fair season last year, and the Demons really need for him to have a great season. Just nice for the D's to kick the first goal of this quarter, just to keep the momentum going.
Good finish.
Well, if you had have said before the game that midway through the third quarter a team would be leading by 49 points, any money would have been that it would have been Hawthorn.
So that's why there's no such thing as an expert, Hutto, football expert.
No, I hope you remember that as the season goes on too, Pete. Here comes Leoncelli, well tackled. Schwarz again. Pachoni, was that high? No, it wasn't.
Well, that's a good sign, early sign from the D's, Sauce, isn't it? They're still going about it.
They are. They're still applying the pressure that they did in the first half, and to come out in this third quarter and do exactly the same thing is a good sign for Neil Danaher.
Leoncelli looked in a little bit of trouble there. Seems to be recovering okay. Holland doing some ruck work with Schwarz. Joel Smith being tracked by Luke Williams, almost handball to himself, then Joel Smith loses it. Uze. Walsh forced to spoil, and he did it cleverly in the end. Long shot from Schwarz, here's another one. It's just an avalanche, it's amazing. No, he's missed. I told you, another point.
He's a workhorse, though. I tell you what, he's a hard worker and a team lifter in that.
It was good to see the Demon players actually pushing Joel Smith at the ball up in the forward line, pushing him close to the play. If the ball's knocked forward, then Joel Smith has his back to goal. So they're reversing the roles and not allowing him to run straight at the ball and straight at their goal. Just so important. Graham has it out of the back pocket for Hawthorn. Need him running as well. Over the top to Leckis. Hawthorn on the move now. Really do need to find a bit of space. Shocking kick right. It's White. My apologies. Hawthorn sharing it around Green to Leckis. Knocked off the ball. Travis Johnson will go into the middle of the ground. Luke Williams runs into his teammate. Holland's back there for the Hawks in a support type role. Leckis went down early in the game, worked his way to the traffic, gave it away to Leoncelli. The D's now with a chance. Schwarz will go short, drilled it. Russell Robertson's been fairly quiet, spent a bit of time on the bench, half forward. Chance, players throwing themselves in. Oh no, he's played another free to Walsh, who goes straight on. Left foot being tested, will go in the direction of Uze. Jumped beautifully, hovered. Johnstone, can he shrug the tackle? He kicked it and just misses in the end, so minor score. It is all the D's at the moment. Travis Johnson has been a very good on-baller. And the lead is 51 points.
Just can't seem to get any fluency in their game, Dakes. They've lost the run that they've known for, the Hawks, and Melbourne have done very well just to tie them up.
Joel Smith, the margin out beyond 50 points now. It's a long way back from there.
Hawthorn managing Hutto 3 points since quarter time.
Well, maybe the sun a factor there. Sean Wren's frustration's got to make sure he controls them. That is an incredible stat. 17 minutes in the first quarter was their last goal. James McDonald with the footy.
Has it always been a happy hunting ground for the Hawks, the MCG?
Oh, they've had
a few games
wins
slip
over the years. Uze wound up into that one and threw for a behind.
Just another matchup, Hutto. Mark Graham has ended up taking Brad Green at full forward. Brad Green's playing and Mark Graham's gone on to him.
Joel Smith tends to kick it to himself at times. All he needs to do, there he goes, kicks to himself. They need to take a little bit or a few chances. Decides to go in long. Oh, White went up too early and it will go against him. It will come back. Advantage, Tallis, allowed to go on, chips up, and Thompson, a long way from home, turns around quickly. Dixon's got it. At the weight, and that's probably been the best example of just their disposal, even though it hit its mark, Sauce.
It was
he
a little
had the
bit
weight, and it was behind him.
Yeah, it was a little bit lucky. The kick wasn't great, but did fall short and probably fell into the right hands in Ben Dixon.
Well, he started the game beautifully, 2 early goals. He's been out there for the majority of the game, starting to fall back rankings. So Dixon has 2, and that's the goal the Hawks needed. So 3 goals to Benny Dixon. That's their first goal, or the only goal they've managed since quarter time. It's 5-7-37 Hawks. The D's well on top, 13-5-83.
Well, they're a little bit fortunate here, Hawthorn. They got the advantage room actually worked to their favour. The poor kick here, really a lucky mark by Ben Dixon, but a goal they really did need just to get them going in this third quarter.
(13-5) plays 5-7 from the MCG. They've finally kicked a goal, the Hawks. And will it be the spark they need? Whelan caught one high.
Sloppy tackle from Leckis.
He's done well, Whelan.
Melbourne on top, all over the ground. Johnson could take it all the way from there. He decided not to. Williams darting around with Joel Smith. Brad Green in the square, being watched by Mark Graham. Travis Johnson. Oh. He just waited till an option presented itself. And it's Nathan Brown.
They just need to tighten up a little bit, Hawthorn. They just seem to be zoning off their players or their opponents, and the Melbourne players are just getting the ball across too easily to their teammates.
So Nathan Brown spent probably most of his time in defence, so not a noted goal kicker. Was that a free? No, it wasn't. No interference, said the umpire. The behind stands. 13-6 to 5-7. We are 10 minutes in. Joel Smith kicking to him. Now the umpire's going to play a ball up.
Well, he should have actually kicked it further back. The Melbourne player was sitting back about 7-8 metres from that the top of the square. So to allow himself a little bit of space and not be in a mad rush, Joel Smith should have not kicked it from the top of the square.
He'll be very frustrated by that. And the Demons get an unexpected bonus. Chance to score a goal. Robertson, if that was the mark, he would have won the car. Powell's kick goes across the face. Not sure they still have a car, but the ball over the line and out of bounds. Let's have a look at what Joel Smith did. He has to kick it.
He was looking further up the ground, I think.
Clear to himself. It's interesting, that one. I might see if we can come back to it later, but there's a great leap from Russell Robertson. Back live. Couple of chances for the Demons. Robertson again underneath. This time he couldn't pull it down. Braden Tallis, who's been pretty quiet, he just banged it on the boot, but it was a good kick. Sean ran. Didn't have an immediate option, despite the fact you would have thought they might have been a bit flat-footed. Got it in quickly. Thompson presented well. Barlow well tackled. Chick. He's got a couple of players down. He knew they were there. Jade Rawlings should kick a goal. He gathered it well. Good play by the Hawks. Did it pretty hard, but they've got there.
Kick.
There
Could
might
be another kick. It is.
Oh, this could be a massive turning point in the game.
Well, he didn't just push him, Hutto. He actually, he was certainly manhandled, and it's fair enough as well. Maybe a little bit soft, but Rawlings, it is being handed on a platter to the Hawks here.
So Jade Rawlings to ram it through. 2 goals for Jade Rawlings in 10 seconds. Well, you hit 2 goals in a minute sometimes, but not usually 2 goals in 10 seconds. That could have a massive impact, Steve.
Just what the doctor ordered, really. We just see here Jade Rawlings kicking the first goal in a couple of seconds, really undisciplined. Really an undisciplined act. He didn't need to do it.
Let's get serious.
Really, this could be a turning point.
Well,
the infringement comes after he kicks the ball, so the umpire was correct in his interpretation. It was a free kick.
You don't put yourself in that position. It's as easy as that. That ball had left his boot. It was already a goal. There was nothing to be achieved by actually running into him. So the Hawks, 2 in a sec, we'll call it. Rawlings has them both out of the middle. Tallis. So we've gone up another cog, and there's been improvement from the Hawks. Dixon out wide. We'll see it over the line.
Gee, it makes it interesting, doesn't it, now?
Well, we're back to 35 points.
Johnny Barker back on the ground.
Ball to be thrown in. Nathan Thompson goes in against White. White front position. So Thompson will get there now, does well. It'll come down. Tim Clark goes out to Cox. Hawks into attack. Not into the favour of Barlow. And in the end, Wheatley dives, slaps it out. Bizzell, Chick, throwing his muscle around. Barlow to Chick. Another one for the Hawks. Put it down. Look out. So Daniel Chick, quiet for the first half. All of a sudden puts his hand up, and it's 3 goals in the last 2 minutes of football, and we are back to 29 points.
Well, we just saw young Bruce really should have taken the mark there, but the man that ended up with the ball, Daniel Chick, he is the man that will ignite Hawthorn, and if they to get over and win this game, this will be the player that will win it for them.
Well, Daniel Chick kicks the goal. David Neitz ready to come back on. The margin under 30 points. Suddenly the Hawks have got some spark about them. Pachoni, very clever. Cleared the path for Cox. Just bombs it in there. Johnny Barker, almost, not quite. Jade Rawlings, his 3rd goal. No! Oh.
Well, I'm really interested to see how the D's react to the Hawthorn pressure. We're up against it now.
They just need to take stock, the D's. They just need to slow it down here. Just keep possession. Keep it the discipline work and not panic.
Oh, trouble. Crawford will knock it down and take it. Steadies and finishes. Here they come. Well, Chick, Crawford, even Nathan Thompson are starting to get their hands on the ball, and the Demons are under pressure.
Well, that's when you panic from fullback. He had no options, and he went for a 50-50 option there. It's not good enough. He had to make that kick. Fell into the right arms of Shane Crawford, who ended up kicking a goal.
Well, Shane Crawford, he's been out there the whole match. He kicks the goal. Momentum suddenly with Hawthorn. The margin back to 22. Thompson gets it down and gives them a chance. Harford a little quick, but Green recovered it well. Out to Cox. He's had some important touches. This is Daniel Chick. Pops it in again. Thompson the man most likely. No, it was Barlow in fact. Dixon swooping. Here's Barlow's second chance. And just misses. So 21 points. Let's get down to Christy Malthouse for another update on the injury problems for the Hawks.
Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, Luke McCabe hasn't come back out of the room since half-time, so they might have been hopeful that he'd rejoin this game, but it looks like that's it for him now, and that injury could be a bad one.
Under siege at the moment at Demons. Wheatley brings it in. Just chips up. And just holding it up is Whelan.
Just a different tactic there by the D's, actually huddled in the middle just to create the space out wide so that the full-back could get an easy kick-off.
So he goes back to Wheatley, has a little bit of time and space, decides to take it on and take a bounce. Look towards Williams, gives his teammate no chance, ends up on the full. And they are under huge pressure. Joel Smith can go over the top to Barlow. No, Chick's further up the ground, inside 50. They're just holding it up at the moment. They may need a big, tall option. Nathan Thompson is lurking inside 50. Smith will go towards Thompson. Here he comes. And, Holland was a second preferred. Comes across the mark. Is it 50?
Doesn't look like it's 50 at the moment.
They have come from nowhere, the Hawks. 17 minutes into this third quarter. And Daniel Harford and Benny Dixon, the Hawthorn players have to sit out of this because we have possession and we are going at goal once more. Great courage.
It was great courage by Nick Holland.
And that was an accident. Purely an accident.
Just amazing. The Hawks have got back into the game due to Melbourne's errors and undisciplined acts.
The other thing is, at least they're getting their hands on the ball. First option, the Hawks. They're starting to win it. Holland finishes. Yes! Nick Holland, after a quiet first half also, and they had many players out of this game, marks, and then more importantly finishes off. The lead now cut back to 15 points. It's 84 Demons. The Hawks are 69. 18 minutes, third quarter.
Great mark by Nick Holland.
What an amazing turnaround, and it all gets back to that Paul Wheatley mistake. 2 goals in a minute. Suddenly the Hawks are back in the game. They can feel it. They're applying the crunching tackles. They're winning the ball out of the middle.
Yep.
Pachoni driving long. It might go all the way. All the way with Lance Pachoni. This is now an avalanche. They have gone bang, 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 bang.
And one more bang.
7 goals in the quarter for Hawthorn. 7 in a row after Melbourne kicked the first one. Great stuff.
It really was. It's amazing how a game turns. David Schwarz 10-15 minutes ago would have broken that tackle, yet the Hawthorn guy actually was able to hold him up, got the rebound, and they've ended up kicking a lovely long goal through Pachoni.
Now Nathan Thompson was able to jump in that last one with his left hand, knocked it towards that outer wing where Schwarz was, but he has to do it once more. He's getting up. White got it this time. Harford goes through. He's wrapped up, and Johnson making sure that Hartford going nowhere. What a turnaround in this game. They led by 44 at half-time, the D's. It is now back to 9. They still have the lead. Blood rule, it looks like Daniel Harford coming off. This may give the D's Sauce a chance to regroup.
Yes, and Neil Danaher's just made a move. He's just taken David Neitz away from his forward line just to try and stem the tide a little bit. Neitz, who was playing up at centre-half forward, has gone down to centre-half back and is actually playing as a spare man in their defence.
Holland also back on Schwarz, one of the moves that Peter Schwab was able to manufacture at half-time.
Melbourne kicked the first 3 goals of the game. Hawthorn kicked the next 4. Melbourne kicked the next 10. And then Hawthorn have kicked the next 7. This is incredible.
Amazing. Great start for both teams, really. It's taken quite a while for the Hawks to wind up. Thompson wrestling with White. Thompson down, Pachoni over the top. Joel Smith further up the ground. They don't need to see him near the D's. He's wrapped up in the end. Well done, Cox. Oh, met beautifully by Wheatley. Loose ball will come down. It's against Cox. I think Wheatley actually jumped off the ground. Maybe why he was penalised. Good kick. Sitting underneath it. Lekas. Check will run onto it. Can he tap it back? He'll keep it in front of himself as he does normally. Lekas goes back to Crawford and making sure for the D's is Leoncelli that it goes over the line.
Just amazing, Dakes, how the game turns. Melbourne 10-15 minutes ago had 3 players everywhere. But now, well, just have a look at that bump. Too high. No question about that.
Can they keep it going? Thompson tries to do that. Vandenberg. Was that a shove in the back? The umpire probably not in the best position to see it. And we'll have a bounce close to the line.
They just need to get a control of a man, Melbourne.
They need
Far too loose, Hawthorn.
Need some cool heads, don't they, at the moment? The Demons, just some steadying influences on this game.
Well, we may have to find out who is on the bench for the D's, because they need a little bit of run out of midfield, and certainly some players capable of winning possession.
Crawford, hemmed in. Tallis. Oh, good kick. Great kick. Barlow just propped nicely. And he's got an important shot on goal that would put them under a goal behind.
They're all getting involved now, which is a good sign.
They've got numbers now, Dakes, where they didn't have numbers in the first half. They've got their run up and going. They're supporting, and they're getting the result of having numbers around the ball.
Well, Barlow comes in, kicked 23 goals last year from 19 games, and that is good form for that kick. The Hawks are within 3 points. Chris Barlow kicks their 8th consecutive goal. What a game for the MCG.
It was a huge game, and Chris Barlow, a guy he's really underrated, often gets under the guard of a lot of opposition defences, and he's taken this mark by playing in front. An awkward kick by Crawford there, but he slots through another goal for the Hawks.
Oh, it's been an amazing turnaround. An amazing turnaround. Back to within 3 points. They were nearly dead and buried, the Hawks, at half-time. Dixon through the middle. They've been excellent out of the centre. Cox into attack again. They go over the top into the pocket. Running onto it, Johnny Barker. Johnny Barker trying to keep it in, controlling it. Barlow there, who kicked the last goal. Boundary throw in 20 from the Hawthorn goal.
David Neitz has gone back into the defence.
He has. They're trying to stem the tide, but Hawks are just using the right option at the moment, and he's really not able to help them and get support across.
So Rawlings will contest against Wheatley. Front position, does beautifully. Over the back he goes. Chance now. Tim Clark will go back further. Joel Smith, he's even down there having a ping and just scrapes in for a minor score. It is all the Hawks, 12-10-82. The D's 13-6-84. I don't need to say, boy, do they need a goal now, Melbourne.
Well, it is an avalanche, really. The Hawks have really got their confidence up and going. And, it's pretty tough to stop these.
They are going man-on-man now, the Hawks. They have really cut down the space that they allowed, or the luxury they allowed Melbourne in that first half.
Johnson looks for Nicholson from the kick in. Can't find him. In fact, they're struggling to get a kick at the moment.
That was terrific football from Vandenberg. And is that Stephen Powell picking himself up?
It is.
Yep. Well, I can't remember Stephen Powell being hit like that in the first half.
8 goals, 4-1-4 for the quarter. White tapped it into the space, but filling that space was Hartford. This is tough for Tim Clark. Just centres it, did the disciplined thing. Johnny Barker at the front. Oh, good mark from Neitz. If that's paid, it was. Good steadying mark. And now the Demons trying to get some run out of defence. What a transformation in the game, and the great thing is there's still a quarter to go. Who knows if Hawthorn spent all their petrol in this third quarter getting back, or a Melbourne finished.
And that's how
you know, you made mention of the amount of goals being scored end on end. That's probably one of the things. Teams are probably running themselves into the ground, scoring, and then the opposition then taking over.
No mark to Rawlings, but they get it back in again. Nicholson worked his way well to the front. McDonald all committed. Joel Smith, Chick and Dixon. Well, it's not quite like the kick against Carlton that you'd remember so well, Steve, but this is to put Hawthorn in front, and when they were 51 points down, who would have thought that?
Yeah, well, he's going for his fourth goal, Ben Dixon, and this will be the 9th for the quarter if he kicks it for the Hawks.
To put them in front, no. Well, he'll be glad he didn't do that last year against Carlton.
Yes, he did.
But they're nearly there. 12-11 to 13-6. Quite astonishing.
Wheatley to bringing it in, Sauce.
Just wondering how Nathan Brown to be thinking at the moment, or feeling at the moment after giving that indiscretion away.
That's what Paul Wheatley sees. Further up the ground, Travis Johnstone does well to stand his ground and take a mark. Another good sign from the Hawks. They've stopped the D's in their tracks. There has been no run, making them go back over the mark and kick long. Pretty predictable in the end. Well done, Stephen Green. Right on the hammer of a man that was getting a lot of the ball, James McDonald, in that first half. So 2 a man. The Hawks have been able to turn things around. Terrific contest now. Wren and Holland combining. Vandenberg, loose ball, slaps it out in front of himself, and in the end pushed in the side. That's how the umpire sees it. Boundary throw in half forward. Hawks into attack once again. Just under 27 minutes, third quarter.
Doing it well, the Hawks. They're applying all the pressure up in their forward line. Melbourne are struggling to get a kick inside their 50 at the moment.
Ball to come in. Wren in the end held. And no advantage. Actually, White being held. Stephen Armstrong goes for a jog after 2 bounces. Shocking disposal in the end. And they are under pressure. Robertson sees it over the line. So if there's anything to come out of this, the D's are into attack. And there's a couple of handy players by Woden. Wardbridge in the foreground, who hasn't been used a hell of a lot. I think the matchups have had a lot to do with that. Holland and Schwarz. Schwarz is out of the game. I suppose the supply has been cut down. He's wrapped up by Nick Holland. Now back on Schwarz. Vandenberg not far away. Inside 50, ball up.
See, they've learned from early on in the game. They tried to take it out of the ruck contest there, David Schwarz, but Holland was right onto it.
As you said, Dax, that's probably more about supply than anything else. That figure. 1 point the difference. Melbourne holding on. Close to the end of the third quarter. Nowhere to move for them. They'd love to just nab a goal before three-quarter time. Doesn't look likely at the moment. Out of defence. For the kick from Crawford. Wren, Lekas, and now it's out.
That's where they miss a guy like Jeff Farmer. The ability to make a goal of nothing. Inside 50, 26, 36 to the Hawks, playing 35. So couldn't get any closer than that. But more importantly, third quarter, Hawthorn in charge.
It's almost like they're exhausted at the moment. Melbourne just building here, trying to get something before the break. Tallis, they were just trying to maim them, run them down. And the pressure they're applying is immense. Great tackling, and they win the ball. Tallis, he was tripped. Gee, looked like he was tripped. Melbourne perhaps a little lucky there. Uze lacking the earlier confidence, and the ball's out of bounds.
Amazing what pressure does. Melbourne early on in the game were able to do, hit their foot skills and handballs. Now the tide's reversed, or the tide's gone the other way, and the Hawks are just applying all the pressure. And Melbourne are making the skill errors.
It's all about execution under pressure, isn't it? Oh, unlucky Tallis. Tallis should have ended up with the ball. Blood rule again as Stephen Powell may be coming off. He is for the D's. We are bracing ourselves for a big last quarter from both these teams, and here's one play that Neil Danaher will be looking to in that last quarter. Fresh legs.
Really love
The
a goal
Hawthorn
here.
bench.
Dakes, Melbourne. They really need one just to go in with a little bit of confidence at three-quarter time.
Fresh legs. Pachoni a runner, Loney a runner, and McCabe you can throw into that mix.
It's such a hot day. It's just going to be such an important question that'll be answered, won't it? Is which of those players have still got the run in their legs coming into the last quarter?
By Whelan and Powell, the two players for the D's.
Loney kicked off his wrong boot to centre half forward. Barlow just misjudged it slightly, but recovery was excellent. Certainly didn't go the required distance. Walsh may have been nabbed high, and a ball up the result of that. 30.5 minutes gone in this third quarter. 2.5 still to play though.
Just amazing how the discipline goes out a bit. Bruce went for a mark. He was behind there. All he needed to do was actually spoil the ball.
Powell still sitting down. Wren. Walsh. Harford. Gang tackle. They've managed to hold it up at least for the last 3 or 4 minutes, Melbourne, haven't they? They've stopped the onslaught on the scoreboard.
They needed to do that. They've settled the game down, as you said, Hutto, and they needed to do that before three-quarter time.
Still 2 minutes remaining in this third quarter, so plenty of time for either side to grab some sort of advantage before the last quarter. Green just got it clear enough. Pachoni, who's had a great third term, gets them at least to 50. Dixon's handling of the ball outstanding. Tough for the Demons back there. Extra numbers with Melbourne and Neitz.
One of the problems that you will have in the last quarter going to that city end is the sun, because it will set in the west after 4 o'clock. I'm probably getting a little bit technical here, but it will be a problem for the players when they're heading towards goal.
Target is Schwarz. Bruce over the top. What a grab. Not quite completed. Schwarz trying to ferret it out. And another bounce. Well, the crowd of good, healthy numbers on this warm day have certainly got their money's worth so far.
Amazing how the game's got back to a contest, Dakes. It was free-flowing before. Now both teams have just locked it up.
Holland. Pachoni, free kick going Hawthorn's way.
Sorry, Hutto. And that man Pachoni has actually been able to take it out of the middle twice in this third quarter.
Oh, no.
Total 5 for the Hawks. They're leading 5-2, and another real gimme for the Hawks. David Schwarz.
Let's have a look at this.
Oh,
Over the top of Nick Holland's head, Dakes.
well, that was just and silly. In the context of the game, it's been a pretty physical game. Not a lot has been given. They gave the Rawlings goal up in this third quarter, and then David Schwarz played too much football to be doing that type of thing. Holland, 1 in this quarter. Number 2 misses just to the left. Scores are tied up. 33.5-minute quarter. It's 84 apiece. And David Schwarz, you have been let off.
Be disappointed in that effort. He's better than that, and he's one of the leaders for the D's. He really has to make it up.
That could be very significant in the end. They've kicked 8 goals, 6 in this quarter. They've got time though. And Daniel Chick puts the Hawks in front on three-quarter time. 9 for the turn. Amazing stuff at the MCG. They were 50-odd points down. Chick kicks his second, and they are in front. Talk about deflating, and all the Hawk players go to David Schwarz to let him know about it.
Well, Sauce, being a champion defender and having played most of your career there, boy, talk about handing it to the opposition on a silver platter. That's the second one, not the first, but the second one this quarter.
It's always tough, though, Jakes, for a full back. When you don't have options and plays presenting, it's always a tough kick to get that 50-50 option, and on that occasion, the execution wasn't there.
Trust him to defend the full back.
I'll defend him. It's a tough kick, trust me.
Geez, is it a responsibility that Carlton entrusted in you, kicking in?
No.
They took me away from it.
Crawford out of the middle. There's a three-quarter time siren goes. What a quarter of football from the Hawks. And they will take a 6-point lead into the last break. It's 13-12-90 Hawks. Melbourne 13-6-84. And Peter Schwab and his boys can take a bow for a terrific quarter of football.
So they should, Dakes. That was a superb, one of the best quarters you'd ever hope to see. And it probably resulted really in an indiscretion by a Melbourne player where Jade Rawlings got 2 goals within 10 seconds of the game. But we really are up for a fantastic final quarter. And let's hope that the D's can get back into this game.
Yeah, I wonder how Nathan Brown's feeling at the moment. The margin is 6. Goals in a minute. Suddenly the Hawks are back in the game. They can feel it. They're applying the crunching tackles. They're winning the ball out of the middle.
Yep.
Pachoni driving on. It might go all the way. All the way with Lance Pachoni. This is now an avalanche. Yes, certainly an avalanche in that third quarter. Amazingly, 9 consecutive goals the Hawks checked after Melbourne kicked the first one. 9-6 to 1-4 for that quarter. And they're in front by a goal as we head into what should be a fascinating last term, 13-12, playing 13-6. A lot to look forward to in this last quarter. And Steve, I guess it gets back to that mistake made by Nathan Brown, that lack of discipline when he gave away this free kick.
We just have it here on screen and didn't need to do it. A little bit soft, but
he barely touched it.
Didn't need to do it. It was a free kick. He had kicked the ball and correct decision by the umpire. It was in the back. And that's when it all started, Dakes.
Yeah, look, I agree. You don't put yourself in that position, Hutto. I understand what you're saying, as Neil Danaher has his concerns, because 44 points was the lead at half-time. That has been certainly put the rest. It's a 6-point lead to the Hawks now, so I think you'll be looking to a lot of the players that fell out of the game now. Certainly his midfielder was so good in that first half, were non-existent. They didn't have the space that they were allowed in the first half, and they need to be back on song.
Well, if you'd played the whole match, you'd be around the 90-minute mark, and we can see that quite a few of their key players haven't played that amount of time.
There was a couple of quality players there, Woden and Powell in particular, so they should be able to get some run out of their midfield.
And here's Hawthorn in contrast. Well, McCabe, I don't think we'll see again. We'll hear more on that from Christie in a moment. Pachoni has been good. Dakes?
Yep. Well, I love his aggressive style, Hutto, and the other one is Loney. Barker certainly was a part of it. And Wren, look, I think Wren was very good in that third quarter. The other move was Holland went on to Schwarz at centre-half back.
Well, there's Luke McCabe. Let's hear some more from Christy Malthouse.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, Hawthorn were very fired up at that three-quarter time break. Now, since the start of the game, they've actually used their bench twice as often as Melbourne have throughout the game, giving players like Wren, Pachoni and even Loney, who are doing a lot of work in the centre, a bit of a rest. And maybe that's been a little bit of the key to their turnaround, and it looks like they'll probably have pretty fresh legs now heading into the final quarter. They've only got 3 players on the bench because Luke McCabe has already changed into his suit. He's got his arm in a sling with a collarbone injury, but it looks like they'll still continue to rotate a lot in the last quarter.
The other move, Hutto, has been Tim Clark went on to Anthony McDonald, who was pretty good in that first half, and he was another player that was finding a bit of space for the D's.
There's Luke McCabe watching on helplessly. The Hawks, though, lead by a goal as we go into what should be a fascinating last quarter from the MCG. Easter Monday football right around Australia. Here's Clark out of the middle. The Hawks getting the all-important first break. Cox, who had a great third term, got 3 to beat here. Beat a couple of them and had no one to lay it off to. And Melbourne reaping the rewards of getting at him in numbers. Powell guiding the ball to half forward. Was there a hanging on there? There was. Advantage not paid to Leoncelli. He'll have to come back and take the kick.
Well, the old cliche in football is that first goal, all important.
I was just going to say that, Dakes.
Right to full forward. Joel Smith now with the job on Brad Green and the ball out of bounds.
Well, it'd be interesting if Hawthorn were able to manage that because the interest for me would be just the reaction or the actions of the Melbourne players.
Well, Neitz has gone back up forward. Schwarz doing the ruck work here. He needs to try and redeem himself after giving away the 50, even if it didn't end up costing them a goal directly.
That's a better sign from the D's. Luke Williams combining with Leoncelli to be the aggressors on Shane Crawford.
Keeping the ball inside their 50, just putting a bit more pressure on the Hawthorn defence.
Shane Crawford's had 18 possessions today, Harford 17, and Joel Smith 15. Eamon's still in attack. That's his stuff again from Crawford. And just looking at the Melbourne list of stats, 22 possessions for Travis Johnson, 16 kicks and 6 handballs, 18 for Powell in his comeback game, 12 and 6. And Uze, a little bit quiet since early on, has had 14 touches. Schwarz trying to lead the way in attack and get one back for the Demons. McDonald, it has been a free-flowing game for a lot of the game, but then it's gone through patches, Steve, where we've seen a lot of players around the footy.
It has. It just been that type of game all day, and I'd expect the game will open at some stage through this last quarter.
The D's have the chance early in this last. Knocked down by Williams, taken by McDonald, kicks around the body. In the end, players just allowing it to drop. Crawford tried to hand it. Walsh tried to burst through. And in the end, Shane Crawford, he has done early in this last quarter, doing some good work in defence, wraps him up.
Just with the kick in the air there, Dakes, you're spot on with the sun. The players on that occasion found it very hard to go for the ball while it was sitting in the air.
Schwarz, we'll go with Nick Holland, who's very good in that third. Schwarz tried to take it out. Loose ball, Crawford will run it away and out wide. Dropped it in the end. Should have been. Stephen Green, members side, looking for Cox. Good use of the body then. And too high in the end. Anthony McDonald, Uze will go short. Neitz 2 points. It's got it. No, not paid in the end. Loose ball. And Mark Graham just doing enough. But the final decision fell with the umpire, and he felt that Neitz hadn't finished it.
Very unlucky.
Yeah, no, I think it was a good decision. He lost it behind his back. There it is. And we'll go against you on that one, Sauce. Paul's
did well there, Graham, though.
Put down Williams. Comes just outside Uze. Whilst Demons needing a goal just to settle things down. And outside 50 now. So the Hawks been able to push this outside the danger zone. 55 from goal. Melbourne with another bite at it.
6 points the difference. 4 minutes into the last quarter. Schwarz trying hard, getting clear as Uze. Usually delivers pretty well. Again, he goes for his captain. Was that some interference? No. Powell couldn't get on the end of it. Neitz kept it in, kept it alive. Smith wanted it back to the boundary line. Graham, he certainly wanted it over the line and succeeded.
He's unlucky there, David Neitz, not to get a free kick. He was held off the ball. Umpire just missed it.
That's what you were talking about. Neitz appealing for a free kick. Melbourne needs some inspiration. They need someone to stand up and kick a goal. Schwarz trying to do that. Hawks have got numbers though around the footy. Vandenberg gets a lucky one.
Yeah, I agree, Hutto. He had his head down, which is full marks to him. But in the end, as a tackler going into traffic, how do you avoid knocking the head?
Nathan Loney off half-back, got plenty of support. Nick Holland, who pushed into defence in the third quarter, runs for him. Loney goes longer, though, to the wing. It's a low kick, difficult to trap. Barlow didn't try and chap it. Did well, though, using Cox, who chanced his arm a little, took them on. Clark, cruel bounce. Brown along the boundary line. Broadbridge hasn't seen much time at all today. Brown chipped it up. And Cameron Bruce
in the middle, Whelan.
Yeah, goes for him. Chick has to work hard. Knew that he couldn't take the mark, so now just tries to hold him up. Wheatley going past.
Just has to get it in there.
It's an open forward line for Neitz. Great play. The kick didn't quite hit the target and made it a lot easier for Mark Graham. That's a great effort from Neitz with the tackle, and it might cause a goal. McDonald runs in and kicks it. Scores a level. The game's still well and truly on. Scores level, 14-6-90 to 13-12-90. And well done, David Neitz.
Yeah, if they ever needed one, if they ever needed a goal, well, this was the one. Neitz once again using his body prepared to attack the ball. Great tackle there to cause the spillage, and young McDonald ended up kicking his first goal of the game.
Whelan did well. I suppose, take it back to where it started. Whelan did well to hold his ground and take a mark. So that's the goal the Doos are looking for. Neitz again providing himself, and in the end the tackle was spot on. Out of the middle, Piccioni off the ground, pushing it forward. It's all you can do. It will be a Hawthorn free. It's coming back to Tallis. So Raiden Tallis has bowled over, and cramp starting to set in, and I think should get used to that. It has been 3 torrid quarters, non-stop running, a real physical presence out there. To Barlow.
You look at the numbers inside 50.
So 55 from goal. He'll go short again, and Cox down from that half-back line or defensive role to go at goal.
He's lifted his game, Dakes. Young Cox, he was soundly beaten by Brad Green early, but he's been instrumental in getting the Hawks back into this game.
Game ranking 23. Not bad. We'll go at goal, and I think it was coming back, and then last minute swung to the right, so it's only a minor score. They lead by that point. It's 13-91 Hawks. The D's are 14-6-90.
Amazing to think they've had 6 more scoring shots than Melbourne. They've had some troubles from the kick in, the Demons. Johnstone using the boundary line. It was out. Now he's going to pay that. He has to if he's going to be consistent. It was in the back. It was about as soft as the other one.
Well played by Johnson there. He didn't have too many options, and he used the boundary line, which is your best friend when you're under pressure.
So Travis Johnson off half-back. The Demons just steadying a little bit in this last quarter. They've cut the margin from 6 back to 1. Broadbridge the target, Holland the spoiler. Rawlings, who went forward and made a difference in the 3rd quarter. Vandenberg has been pretty good today. Hasn't had an enormous amount of the ball.
Some more cramp, Dakes.
Yep, Luke Williams.
Takes them on, Vandenberg.
He does. Interesting disposal there. Holland, Schwarz, Wheatley off the inside of the foot. Green just had to lay the handball off. He couldn't do it. He had teammates in support.
Have to hold it up, Hawks.
Yeah, they couldn't. In the end, Melbourne had numbers. Armstrong's delivery all important. Neitz loves to run the arc. Well tackled. Wrapped up nicely. Vandenberg. And now they're out of trouble, but not for long, because Melbourne had built a wall. Uze controlled his kick nicely and gives Powell the chance to deliver to a forward. Still pretty open in there. And somehow this man got clear.
Bruce.
And Cameron Bruce is a pretty handy kick at goal.
It was a great block by David Neitz. He actually blocked Bruce's opponent and caused Bruce to get the space in front of him, and it was terrific block by David Neitz. Happened just out of screen.
So Cameron Bruce, who's played the whole match, spent a lot of time in defence in it. He's got a very important kick here, and unfortunately for him, he misses to the left. So scores level once again, 14-7-91, 13-13-91. You get the feeling it's a bit of the calm before the storm.
I think so. Kicking to himself, Joel Smith out wide, Tallis with a sit-off. Good mark, Travis Johnson. That's the type of thing you have to come up with. Put himself on the line.
24 touches, Dakes, Johnston.
And a lot of those would have been amassed in that first half. Did die off, but not alone in that 3rd quarter. Goes short, Leoncelli, who should be fresh, will drill a pass. Good kick, Neitz. A real chance for the D's now, as their skipper will go back. Has 3, and a chance to give the D's the lead. Beautiful kick. Certainly found a lot of space. At times his kicking can be pretty wayward, David Neitz. Has any good handball? No handballs, Hutto, for any good forward. Player time, 75 minutes. He's been out there. Chance. The skipper doesn't let him down. Goal of the D's. Four goals to David Neitz. And with that, Melbourne jump out to a 6-point lead. It's 97 the Demons, the Hawks are 91, 11.5 minutes last quarter.
Once again set up by Travis Johnson and David Neitz, their skipper, kicking the vital goal at a vital stage in this last quarter.
And his opponent was Mark Graham, who was on someone else in the goal square. So Melbourne back in front. They've kicked the last two after the Hawks kicked 9 in a row. Out of the middle, Thompson. Walsh left it behind. Crawford controlled it. Leckis just did enough to not be penalised. Well played by Loney. Green had nowhere to go. Suddenly, Melbourne starting to emerge with the ball from the 50-50 contest. McDonald, Robertson gets it in there quick. Neitz has been so destructive. Was he held?
Neitz.
He was held. Free kick paid.
Yeah.
Graham holds the arm up helplessly, but David Neitz will go back and try and extend this lead. He's kicked 4.
It's a great contest out on the wing, Hutto. Melbourne had numbers. They forced the ball forward through harassment and tackling. Got the ball in quickly to David Neitz, who ended up getting the free kick on a one-on-one contest. Correct decision.
And that would be I think the first of possibly 3 he could have had this afternoon.
He's kicked 4 goals, 1, David Neitz.
He's been criticised, hasn't he, over the last couple of seasons?
Kicked 38.
Much maligned, I suppose.
Kicked 38 goals last year. What an important kick this is to give them 2 goals breathing space. He's missed it to the right, and the margin stays at 7, and the Hawks, well, they're well and truly in it anyway, but they'll be thankful for that.
Well, it's about any and every score.
All ball pressure.
Yes. 7-point lead.
He kicks that, it becomes a big task.
Well, gas tank may be out for the Hawks as well. Big third quarter. Trailed by 44, turned it into a 6-point lead going into the last quarter. Joel Smith to bring it in. Signs are that the Hawks just have stopped, but this game of football, anything can happen, as they say. Oh, Thompson, good mark. Need more of that. Move it on quickly. He does. Wing it is. Out in front of his teammate out there in Loney. Taken and dummying a handball. Oh, in the end, too high on Hartford. Manhandle. Loney kicked it forward, but the ball is coming back. Coming well back. It ended up at half forward. Oh, Daniel Hartford earned this one. Have a look at this. Leoncelli. Thompson into the middle. Graham just starting to stretch. Vandenberg further up the ground will take it now. Wing members side. Chance for the Hawks. He'll bounce. What opens up? Decides to go in long. Rawling sits back. White there at ground level. Wheatley. Powell should run it away. Hands off to McDonald. Sharing it. Could get themselves into trouble, the D's. McDonald with a bit of time. Brown. Beautiful kick. And in the end, Bruce has it.
They just had so many numbers in that bit of play. Bruce goes to half forward. Walsh running down. Was that a free? Doesn't matter. Walsh can go back and take his kick.
He was nearly gone had he have not tripped.
Powell could kick this. He could kick this and really hurt them.
Kick. Oh, in the square again, holding.
Against Mark Graham. So Melbourne are going to get the goal. Melbourne are going to get the goal. David Neitz will be able to go back and kick for his 5th, or is it going to Robertson? It's going to Robertson. Well, the crowd's stunned.
Our little half-time segment highlighted, one of the Melbourne supporters highlighted that Neitz was getting a pretty hard time. Oh, it's actually Russell Robertson.
Here he comes to take it out to 13. He's done the job. And all of a sudden, the Demons are back in control at the MCG.
Well, once again, that goal caused really by David Neitz. He was looking for a block, and Robinson's opponent actually held up onto his opponent and was caused through David Neitz trying to block him, and he ended up giving a free kick holding on to young Robinson.
Well, they worked it well. So they've pushed it out to a 13-point lead, Melbourne. 16 and a half minutes, still plenty of time for the Hawks. You can't help but think the run is out of their legs. Leoncelli, Melbourne into attack. White did beautifully. Neitz taps it down. Travis Johnson, standing start for a goal. For a goal. Boy, talk about twists and turns in a game of football. It was Melbourne early, then Hawthorn. And then in that second quarter, the D's, Hawthorn in the third, and now it is Melbourne once more. Good finish in the end.
He's had a terrific game, Travis Johnson. He was recruited as the #1 pick in '97 to get ahead of Ottens, Crode and Tarrant. And today, I think he's lived up to his potential.
Well, he's ranked as #1 out on the ground, and I think that's a pretty fair tag. His afternoon's work. 26 possessions, and now 1 goal, 1. What an important one. So once again, Hawthorn need to dig deep and respond and try and keep themselves in the game. Good mark provided by Dixon, who, when they've been playing well in this game in the patches, has been one of the most important players. Good delivery. And the captain of Hawthorn, Shane Crawford, to try and answer.
Well, Walsh actually was looking towards goal, so he actually lost sight of Shane Crawford. The ball dropped short, and Crawford able to take pretty much an uncontested mark.
Crawford #2 in the game rankings, and not surprising, he's had 21 possessions. He needs to kick the goal, only just made it, but it cleared the pack, and it's a goal, and they're still in it. They're still in at Hawthorn, 14-13-97. Melbourne 17-8, 110.
Lovely kick there by Dixon. He just held the ball up, waited for the timing of Crawford's lead, and Crawford ended up kicking the captain's goal at a crucial time in this game.
Good kick in the end, kept it low. So the Hawks hit back. It's back to 13 points. Wren in the ruck this time. They need to be winning it out of the middle. They did that so well in that third quarter. Wren to Paccioni. Powell was there. Vandenberg, fresh air shot. Leoncelli into an attacking scoring position. Neitz has got it. Slid into him with players around just watching him. And the skipper comes up with it. He has 4 goals and a chance for 5, and really, more importantly, to extend the lead.
Tell you what he has done, Dakes. He's created space in front of him. A couple of opportunities there for Hawthorn players to actually push back, but they know how hard this guy actually attacks the ball, and he ended up taking an easy chest mark.
So Neitz with the chance. Just under 20 minutes last quarter. This would make it hard for the Hawks, and I think it's just going to scrape through. It has. 5 goals to David Neitz, and an answering reply. It's 18-8, 116. Demons 14-13-97 Hawthorn.
The advantage of getting the ball out of the middle too. The defender's nightmare, a forward's dream. Well done, David Neitz.
What an answer from David Neitz. 5 goals, 2 for the day. And once again, Melbourne skip away to a 3 goals plus lead. Broadbridge's kick run down. Has to go again. He's got time on his side. And he's got plenty of forwards leading, attacking the ball. Delivery was spot on. And Brad Green takes the mark and can line them up.
He did wonderfully. He did a terrific job actually holding on to that. He certainly hit the ground. Have a look at this one. And there was no way known Brad Green was going to lose that.
He did well to we just have Neitz after the goal. He kick, but great kick by young Broadbridge too on that occasion too, Dakes.
I think the positioning of the Melbourne players has been very good in this quarter. They're winning it and they're running it into that midfield type position. But more importantly, no one across half forward, allowing the ball to travel inside 50.
Walsh, who's been on Crawford, is off, but we're watching Brad Green, who's pulled his kick away. Speaking of changes down there, Christy, I noticed Shane Woden's been on the bench for most of this last quarter.
Actually, Anthony, he's been on the bench for all of this last quarter. I've asked and they said he's not injured, so it's obviously just for team balance, but he's sitting on the bench and he hasn't even warmed up, so it doesn't look like he's going to come on anytime soon.
Oh, that magic, that team balance.
Yeah, it's a great word, isn't it?
Hawks on the kick in. They find Holland. A lot of the run has deserted the Hawks. It was so evident in that third quarter. Holland short, Piccioni. Half would be the shepherd of taking Johnson off the ball. Piccioni allowed to run. Carries it. It'll drop short. Brown smothered the ball well. Hands off to Schwarz, who in the end nearly dropped it. Might have got a hand to it. Wheatley comes through the traffic and then finds Johnson, who dummied a handball, actually gestured to handball. Could have been called a play on. Finds Leoncelli. The D's just retaining it into the middle now to White. Out wide. Dummy to handball, goes short, and Robertson will mark. Boy, no one went at Jeff White, allowed him time, has picked his mark, and Russell Robertson, this will test him because 55 from goal, his kicking can let him down. White, stop start, and Sauce in the end finds his mark. Robertson will just chip it up. Neitz will jump. Neitz dropped it on the way down. Called a play on in the end. Mark Graham just making sure that that ball is tied up, and we have a ball up about 15 metres from goal.
Actually, smart kick by Robertson here. He knew the distance was going to test him, and he just put the ball in the air, knowing that Neitz would have a bit of a run up on his opponent in front of him.
So still there attacking Cox. Good work. So 5 minutes remaining. We won't see the clock from now. There's 5 minutes of actual play. And in that time, Hawthorn have got to kick 20 points worth and then a bit more to win. So they need, you would think, 4 goals and hold Melbourne in that time. Broadbridge. Oh, here's a goal. This will just about finish them off. David Schwarz winds into it. He likes it. Goal umpire comes back to signal maybe the end for Hawthorn. Jubilation for Melbourne. They had a tough old pre-season, but that matters for nothing now because it looks like they're going to win this game.
Well, I suppose in the end, I suppose the pre-season competition, the Wizard Cup has come under a lot of criticism, and whether we take notice or not, it really hasn't shown Melbourne in a true light. Well, the thing that stands out in my mind with this Melbourne team too, Sosa were threatened in that third quarter, and the character of the team really has come to the top in this last quarter.
The coaching staff would be delighted with this effort.
Balls bounce, White will jump. Thompson was too busy looking at White to get his hand on the ball. Lekas out of the middle for the Hawthorn. It'll come down. Barlow couldn't control it. Brown's been good back there. Bizzell out wide. They'll be all happy to see this, especially Melbourne. White did beautifully. And skipping away is McDonald. Anthony it was to his brother James. Brotherly love into the forward line for the D's, and in the end sitting back there, Joel Smith, who hasn't been a bad player. He's certainly missed a lot of his run. He was very good in the third. Thompson into the middle for the Hawks. Danger. Brown took it and ran. Chance there, Travis Johnson took it at his feet beautifully, goes across the ground. He's got it. And no worse person for the Hawks to be having a shot at goal than Adem. Normally a beautiful kick, and there shouldn't be a problem with this one.
It wasn't a bad kick by Travis Johnson either here, Dakes. He just held the ball and just placed the ball out in front of him so Uze could run onto it.
He did not break stride, Adem Uze.
We've given credit to the Melbourne players, but also Neil Danaher needs a hell of a lot of credit. He's interchanged his plays, he's rested his players throughout the game, and he's got the benefit of it in the last quarter.
26 minutes last quarter. Adem Uze says that is it. Two to Adem Uze. And the D's are home. 29 scoring shots, 29-129. It's a 14-13, 97 the Hawks, and Johnson the supplier, and Adem with the finish.
Probably the two best kicks at the Melbourne Footy Club as well, Dakes.
Best and fairest winner last year. Bizzell tops off this Melbourne performance.
Hard to explain the runs there've been and momentum in this game. It's been quite astonishing how teams, once they've got on top for a passage of play, have just totally dominated. At the moment, it's Melbourne's turn. Hawthorn trying hard. Daniel Chicks had a forgettable day. Pachoni, who was one of the players that helped them lift in the third quarter. McDonald, Crawford, Green. 27 minutes gone in the last quarter. They're still trying hard, but really the sting in terms of the final result gone out.
As they've kicked 7 goals in this last quarter, Melbourne, and they've kicked 20 for the game. More goals than they kicked for the entire pre-season competition.
44,000 healthy numbers watching this game. McDonald running out of space. Schwarz. And the ball out of bounds. Melbourne came out of the block. They kicked the first 3 goals. Hawthorn answered with the next 4. Astonishingly, Melbourne kicked the next 10. Melbourne kicked the next 10, then Hawthorn kicked the next 9 after that, all in a row. And since then, Melbourne have kicked 7 of the last 8.
Great game from David Schwarz. Great game.
I was just watching him, Dakes, too. He just loves taking on the tackler as well. He loves hurting people.
Yeah.
And he loves breaking tackles.
Well, he's just got that healthy appetite to completely show his strength. He just
the competitor.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure quite a few of the Hawthorn fans have left, but the Melbourne fans staying to bask in the glory of their team's performance today. Leckis persisted well, and his delivery is not too bad either for Barlow. Remember, Hawthorn won, I think, the first 8 games last year, so they've started this season completely differently. Pachoni, Joel Smith certainly hasn't been their worst player today. Out for Thompson. Tim Clark, kick hurriedly off the left. Nothing really down there. Great effort from Dixon, not quite enough. And we're going to bounce.
Well, I suppose in the wash-up, the Demons will thoroughly run out victors here on the scoreboard. It'll show that they really controlled 3/4 of this game. Hawthorn, after a huge third quarter, just wasn't enough in the end, and I think it just gets back to the consistency of the Demons on the day.
Bizzell up to number 2 in the player rankings. He's had 20 kicks and 12 kicks and 8 handballs for 20 possessions. As Leoncelli gets kick number 13.
Goes out wide. Loney running back with his back to goal. Has time and will find his teammate in Holland. So they get it to half forward. Game just winding down. Just under 30 minutes last quarter. Beautiful day in Melbourne. And the sun certainly shining for the D's here. Loose ball. Vandenberg does well to skip away. Leckis, a little bit of time. Cox onto his skipper in Crawford, who hasn't been bad. Out wide, and they will find their mark because Nathan Thompson accepts out wide. Still a long way from home. They'll have to go from about 55. Certainly be a testing kick. Thompson, a little bit up and down in his football this afternoon. And I think he's more intent on trying to find a teammate. He'll go to the corridor, and Joel Smith will take the mark right on the siren. The D's have run out victors. Joel Smith will take the last kick of the game. The lead, as it stands at the moment for Melbourne, is 32. And Joel Smith will finish with a goal.
Well, it changes the margin, but not much else. What a great performance by Melbourne. 20 goals, 9, 129 to 15, 13, 103, Steve.
Yeah, fantastic effort by Melbourne. They actually played the best footy that they have for quite some time, and great play by Neitz. Also, Nicholson in the back half was exceptional. Brad Green was very good for him, and Travis Johnson a best on-ground performance.
Neil Danaher very proud. He's had a really tough pre-season. He said earlier in the week that they'll make the 8, and what a start for them in their quest to do that. They were grand finalists just 2 years ago. What a win by Melbourne, 29-129 to 15-13-103 at the MCG.
The red and the blue.